the most epic Zodiac Knights system. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51, The Holy Sun. Gu Chen smiled slightly, his lips moved, and he spoke in secret. I can see that you are having a hard time making a decision. If that's the case, why not choose the Saint of the Sun next to me? That might be what you want. Saint of the Sun? Yanqing thought to himself. He glanced at Yi Yang, who was helpless at the moment, and immediately understood what Gu Chen meant. Saint of Mountains and Rivers is Saint of the Sun's best friend, and Saint of Ice and Frost is Saint of the Sun's Taoist partner. If you become Saint of the Sun's disciple, you can indeed take care of both sides. Moreover, Yanqing watched the quarrel develop fiercely. The two saints wanted to fight, and Saint of the Sun probably didn't want this situation to happen. If Saint of the Sun could become his teacher, this problem could be solved, and the conflict could be avoided. Saint of the Sun had praised him before, so there should be no problem in becoming his teacher. Saint of the Sky probably didn't want me to become the node of the conflict between the two saints, so he gave me instructions. Yanqing clenched his fist and made up his mind. The two saints who were arguing noticed Yanqing's facial expression and knew that Yanqing had already made a decision, but they didn't know who Yanqing would choose. Yanqing bent down, bowed respectfully to the two saints twice, and said, "Thank you for your kindness, saints. But I already have a candidate in my mind. I'm sorry I can't accept it." What? Duan Mizuen and Mu Daoxing were shocked. This kid actually rejected them. Didn't he take them seriously? What a hateful kid. He was playing them for a fool. Yanqing, little guy, what did you say? I didn't hear it just now. How about you say it again? Duan Mizuen's smile was very scary, like the smile of Medusa, and the threat in his eyes made Yanqing tremble with fear. Hey, kid, who did you choose as your master to the point of leaving us two saints aside? Explain it to me clearly. Mu Daoxing said unhappily. Yanqing's Adam's apple slid and he swallowed. He was doubtful that, if he said something wrong, he would be beaten to death by the two furious people. Now his only hope was placed on Saint Hori. My two saints, I want to choose Saint Hori as my teacher. Yanqing walked to Yi Yang and bowed. This unexpected choice stunned the three people except Gu Chen. Yi Yang's eyes flashed with surprise. He had just seen Gu Chen's voice transmission and was a little confused. Now he understood that Gu Chen was acting as a lobbyist for him. It was indeed a good choice for Yanqing to worship him. To be honest, he did not want Yanqing to worship any one of Duan Mizuen and Mu Daoxing, because it would intensify the conflict between the two and make it difficult for him to do it. Now Yanqing chose him, which surprised him, not only because of Yanqing's talent, but also because Yanqing's approach allowed Duan Mizuen and Mu Daoxing to avoid conflict, which was really good. Looking at Duan Mizuen and Mu Daoxing who hadn't reacted yet, Yi Yang made a prompt decision and said, "Yanqing, I'm willing to accept you as my disciple and successor." "Thank you, Hori Sheng." "No, thank you, master." Yanqing changed his words and was about to bow and kowtow, but was lifted up by a breeze. "When we return to Fu, we will face the ancestor and perform the ancient rituals," Yi Yang said kindly. "Yes, master." It turned out to be Yi Yang. Duan Mizuen was able to become a saint, so she was naturally not a stupid person. She could tell from the clues at once. Someone must have sent a secret message to the hesitant Yanqing, making him change his mind. But this is also good. She is Yanqing's master's wife, which is almost the same as a master. If she wants to teach, Yi Yang will let her go, right? Duan Mizuen changed her mind and immediately became happy. Well, I didn't expect it to be Yi Yang. Forget it, there is no way to argue about this. Mu Daoxing shook his head. He thought about it and gave up. In fact, this is also good. If he wants to teach, he can go to Yi Yang. It is no different from teaching by myself. The only thing to be careful about is not to let that old woman teach this kid a bad head. After the two people figured it out, they didn't say anything. Obviously, they stopped arguing and tacitly accepted the fact that Yi Yang accepted Yanqing. Gu Chen laughed and said, "Then this matter ends here." The freshmen have stayed in my sleeves for long enough. It's time to finish the business. Gu Chen waved and released all the freshmen. The freshmen were all unconscious and fell to the ground. Yanqing was surprised that the world in the sleeves could suppress people's spirits. This magical power is really powerful. Duan Mazuan opened his mouth and exhaled a breath of cold air, freezing everyone awake. Hey, what's wrong with me? I was obviously still comprehending the inheritance. The position has also changed. What happened? The freshmen were puzzled and talked to each other. Silence. A voice sounded in everyone's ears. This was the words of the saint. Everyone immediately quieted down, sat upright, and dared not speak. Although the saint was very gentle in front of Yanqing, he was very strict in front of the freshmen. Now it's time to make a practice plan. Come one by one according to the ranking of admission scores. Mu Daoxing said. The freshmen lined up and came in front of the 4 people. The first one to come forward was Feng Guang. This guy was extremely powerful and held the inheritance of the heavenly sword, which made the saints very recognized. Just practice according to this table. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. I can teach you a thing or two about the sword. Gu Chen drew a line in the air, and a piece of gold paper condensed. There were dense words on it, all of which were the essence of practice and taboos. Thank you, Saint. Feng Guan took the gold paper with surprise, and carefully put it in his arms. Feng Ling was treated the same way. It was Duan Mazuan who made a practice plan for her. Duan Mazuan looked at Feng Ling with admiration on her face. Although in the Xing era, men and women are equal, there are still not many women who can achieve success in practice. Looking at Feng Ling, she seemed to see herself when she was young. This is the plan for cultivation, Feng Ling. I look forward to the moment when you become a saint. Your determination, talent, and strength are among the best even in previous years. You can come to me for answers to any questions about cultivation. Yi Yang said to Dong Fangwu, who was very optimistic about Dong Fangwu. Luozi was stared at by the wretched Mu Daoxing for a long time, and she felt uneasy. This saint must have seen through her dress. Mu Daoxing smiled and drew a piece of gold paper, saying, "You have to be careful, don't get caught." Luozi's face was a little rosy, and she hummed softly, making many freshmen stare straight and swallow their saliva. At this time, it seemed that gender was no longer important. The efficiency of the saint was very high. In less than 3 hours, all the plans of the freshmen were processed. Except for Yanqing, the freshmen returned to their dormitories with their personal cultivation plans, whether they were satisfied or not. Yanqing followed the hoary Saint Yi Yang and came to the saint's residence in the eyes of everyone's confusion, shock, and even jealousy. This chapter is a little late. Everyone is waiting anxiously. I'm really sorry, because I have something to do, so it is late. But don't worry, there will still be a second update. Chapter 52, Great Sun Lineage. What's up with Yanqing? He actually followed the saint. What good luck. A freshman envied. Is that guy going to be accepted as a disciple by the saint in advance? A freshman recalled the past and said in surprise. Only when the students of Xianfu reach the level of immortal transformation and become immortals, can they be noticed by the saints and accepted as true disciples. However, there are also people with amazing talents who have not yet reached the level of immortal transformation and have been accepted as disciples by the saints in advance. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. The rules of Xianfu will not be broken by him. A freshman was absent-minded. Seeing Yanqing so dazzling and far surpassing everyone else, he had a huge psychological gap. But he did break it. Although we didn't know what happened during the period when we lost consciousness, when we woke up, he stood with the saints. There must be a reason for this. By the way, the inheritance that Yanqing got, the big Buddha. Feng Guan listened to these words with a gloomy face. Although he ranked first among the freshmen, he could not get the attention of the saints like Yanqing. That Yanqing might be his biggest enemy in the future. Yanqing, I'm more and more convinced that you are the one who can shoulder the responsibility of revitalizing the family. I hope you can bring the Yang family to a high level. Yang Ze murmured, with a complex expression on his face, including happiness, reluctance, excitement, and relief. As expected of the man I like, even the saints look at him differently. He is really outstanding. Well, I have decided. I must chase him. Of course, I must first eliminate the two obstacles around him. Feng Ling stared at Luozi and Yang Ze with ill intentions in her eyes. This roommate seems to be very unusual. I don't know whether it is good or bad to share a dormitory with him. Luozi thought worriedly. She was afraid that her identity would be exposed. While the freshmen were discussing heatedly, Yanqing followed Yu Yang to a beautiful place with green grass and blooming flowers. One or two butterflies were flying and landing on the flowers. A wisp of breeze blew in, making Yanqing feel refreshed. After walking a few hundred meters inside, a simple bamboo house appeared in front of Yanqing. "Is this your residence, master?" Yanqing asked. "Yes, how is it? Isn't it nice?" Yu Yang said with a smile. "Well, it's nice. It's very comfortable here. Staying here, I must be very relaxed." Yanqing grabbed in the air. Although he didn't catch anything, the feeling of the flowing wind squeezing out from the gap in his hand was very comfortable. Yu Yang was very happy to see Yanqing relaxing and integrating into this environment. He could see that Yanqing's appearance was definitely not pretending. Accepting this student might really be able to inherit his mantle. Yanqing followed Yu Yang into the bamboo house. After entering the bamboo house, Yanqing found that there was actually another world here. The space inside the bamboo house was very large, as big as a basketball court. This space was divided into many areas. Yanqing could see the words library and cultivation room. Is this the power of space? A mustard seed containing Sumeru? Yanqing was surprised. Yes, it is transformed by using the folding of space. When you reach the saint one day, this degree of space expansion can be achieved at will. Yu Yang walked to a room, opened the door and walked in. "Come in." "Yes, master." Yanqing came back to his senses and hurried into the room. The room was very solemn. The golden carpet was laid here, but it didn't look luxurious. There were portraits of various figures placed here, as well as incense burners, futons and other items. "Since you want to be my disciple, you must respect your teacher and follow the ancient rituals. I, Yu Yang, inherit the great sun lineage. It has existed since the first generation of the palace lord opened up the Fu. Although it has declined several times in the middle, my great sun lineage has always stood up tenaciously and revived again. My master and my great-grandfather once followed the 3 generations of palace lords to fight on the front line. After experiencing that great era, our lineage gradually became famous. Today, although I, Yu Yang, am not talented, I have also achieved something. Yanqing, let me confirm again. Are you really willing to become the successor of my great sun lineage? Even if you die, you will insist on protecting this inheritance and not let it go. Even if you experience all kinds of difficulties, you will not lose the reputation of my great son?" Yu Yang asked seriously. Yanqing did not answer, but nodded heavily, expressing his intentions with his actions. Very good, very good. Yu Yang was very excited. Although he knew that Yanqing would definitely choose to be his disciple, he was still very happy. Not to mention that Yanqing had the same origin as Zeman Sword God. Just because Yanqing could inherit the inheritance of the Buddha saints, there would be no problem in becoming a saint. Today, Yu Yang, the 9th generation descendant of the Great Sun lineage, recruits the 10th generation disciple Yanqing to join my school. Please accept the ceremony, all the saints. Yanqing, perform the ancient ceremony. Yu Yang said loudly. Yanqing knelt on the futon and kowtowed 3 times and 9 times to the saints of the previous generation. He had to bow in front of each portrait. This was an ancient ceremony of respecting teachers, which had remained unchanged for thousands of years. The ceremony is over. Yu Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Although the ceremony was simple, it was also very formal. From then on, Yanqing was included in his school and became his disciple. Yanqing, you are my youngest disciple, ranking 3rd among the 10th generation of disciples. There are 2 senior brothers ahead of you, who are walking and training in the galaxy, and they are all in the realm of immortality. Your cultivation is still very weak, so I will not recruit you publicly. After you reach the realm of immortality, I will open it to the whole Fu. Yu Yang said. I understand. Thank you, master. Yanqing was about to bow, but was supported by Yu Yang. Yu Yang smiled slightly and said, there is no etiquette here. Everything is fine as it is. Natural and ordinary is the way. And this is for you. Yi Yang clenched his hand, and a simple iron scroll suddenly appeared and fell into his hand. I'm from the Great Sun lineage. The method of cultivation is the Sun Sutra, which casts the brilliant sun. You are now full of energy, and you will soon break into the 6th level of the innate. You will definitely reach the transcendent realm within a month. Once you enter the transcendent realm, you will need to practice the method. At that time, you can practice this set of Sun Sutra. At that time, you will be able to transform into the Great Sun Dharma. Yi Yang smiled. The Great Sun Dharma image? Yanqing asked in confusion. That's it. Yi Yang's body shook, and a bright red sun appeared, with a 3-legged golden crow inside, crying and dancing. My Great Sun Dharma image is a 3-legged golden crow. Everyone will have a different Dharma image. Yanqing, I'm really looking forward to your future Dharma image. Yi Yang said leisurely. The second update is here. I'm so tired. The Dharma image Yanqing transformed into is related to a certain constellation in Saint Seiya. You can guess it. Chapter 53, Days with Luozi. When Yanqing walked out of Yi Yang's bamboo house, it was already late. Students of Xianfu had to go back to the dormitory to rest at night. This was a custom. Even if Yanqing was a disciple of a saint, he had to abide by it, as long as he had not reached the immortal realm. The sun was setting in the west, the sunset was fading, the dusk was vast, and the night was just falling. Yanqing held the scroll of the Sun Sutra and walked on the road while thinking. Master Yi Yang was very good to him. He had no saintly airs at all. He was like a kind elder, patiently answering his questions about cultivation. The saint's insights were often sharp, which made Yanqing realize a lot, and made up for many shortcomings caused by the rapid improvement of his realm. He was now at the peak of the 5th level of the innate realm. He only needed to break the limit again, to enter the 6th level of the innate realm, and achieve innate perfection. According to Master Yi Yang, he would definitely break through to the mortal realm within a month, but his progress was too fast. In 2 months, he reached a realm that many people could not reach in more than 10 years of cultivation. Therefore, his foundation was very weak, and needed to be continuously consolidated, so that he could make a breakthrough. Now he had to suppress his realm. More than an hour later, Yanqing finally returned to the dormitory. When he just opened the door, and had no time to see the situation inside the dormitory, he suddenly heard a scream. There was no doubt that this was the voice of Luozi. Then there was a splash, as if something fell into the water. A pillow flew towards him quickly, and Yanqing squatted down and dodged it. He was a little puzzled. What was going on? Why was he attacked? As soon as he came back, Yanqing looked into the room. Although it was a little dark, he still saw a body as smooth as jade, as white as ivory, without any flaws. He realized at this moment that Luozi was actually naked. Yanqing's heart beat violently. Luozi, how could you be so careless? It is really dangerous for men and women to share a dormitory. Bang! Yanqing closed the door with his backhand. The current situation was very embarrassing. It would be better for him not to go into the dormitory. Moreover, the impact of the scene just now was too great. As soon as he closed his eyes, Luozi's body like mutton fat jade swayed in his mind, and he couldn't get rid of it. He needed to calm down. Luozi was so ashamed and angry that she almost collapsed. She didn't expect Yanqing to come back at this time. Just now, after she finished taking a shower, she unexpectedly found that she didn't bring any change of clothes, so she went out to get them. She thought that Yanqing would not come back after being taken away by the saints so late today, so she went out naked to get her clothes. But as if it was raining all night, Yanqing happened to open the door at this time. She immediately screamed and ran back to the bathroom. Luozi curled up and buried her body in the bathtub. Her face was so red that it almost dripped blood. She was very entangled and confused because she didn't know whether Yanqing had seen her body. If he had, how should she explain it, and what should she do? I want to die, Luozi murmured. Yanqing coughed outside. Well, the most important thing now is to resolve the misunderstanding and not let his female roommate think that he had seen her body. Alas, when I came back, I was distracted. Otherwise how could I not notice this situation? I'm such a fool. Yanqing hit himself hard. You have to stay calm and pretend that nothing happened. You have to be surprised by Luozi's strange reaction. Yanqing thought of everything in a few breaths. He pushed the door and walked in, causing Luoz to exclaim again. Hey, Luoz, what were you doing just now? As soon as I opened the door, you screamed and threw a pillow at me. What shameful things are you doing? Yanqing said angrily, not looking like he had discovered Luoz's secret. Luoz, who was hiding in the bathtub, was stunned. Didn't Yanqing find out that she was a woman? Impossible. At that time, although it was a little dark, it should be easy to see with the eyesight of a cultivator. I didn't do anything. Luoz stammered. Impossible. Otherwise why wouldn't they let me in? You were in the bathroom? Are you masturbating? Yanqing's voice was full of ridicule. No, I'm not masturbating. I'm taking a shower. Luoz retorted. Although she didn't know what masturbation meant, she knew that this word was definitely not good. So it's a shower, but you're so shy when taking a shower, just like a girl. Luoz, you're too effeminate. Yanqing muttered. Who's effeminate? I'm very manly. Okay, you're very manly. I'll come in and take a shower too. Luoz, don't mind. Yanqing is going to come in and take a shower. This completely disrupted Luoz's thoughts. She shouted anxiously, don't come in first. Why? Yanqing asked in confusion. I have misophonia. Luoz said anxiously. It doesn't matter. I'm very clean. Don't worry. Luoz was about to cry, and her voice was tearful. I'm not used to taking a shower with others. Yanqing, don't come in. Don't come in. Really? Since you're so resistant, forget it. I'll go to the bathhouse outside to take a shower. It's so cold. I've been beaten by the saint for a day, and my body is very tired. Yanqing seemed helpless and had to give up. With a bang, Yanqing closed the door and left the dormitory. Luoz was the only one left in the dormitory at this time. The room was quiet. Luoz fell into deep thought. Did Yanqing really not notice it? Maybe I really thought too much. Hey, what am I thinking about? Isn't it the best situation if I didn't notice it? Luoz patted her cheek and stood up. This time she carefully scanned the nearby area with her mental power. After finding that Yanqing had gone far away, she breathed a sigh of relief, relaxed, tiptoed to her locker, and changed her clothes. Yanqing took a bath beside a waterfall in Xianfu before returning to the dormitory. He had to act well, and he really wanted to take a bath. When Yanqing returned to the dormitory, Luoz had already fallen asleep, although he didn't know whether he was really asleep or pretending to sleep. He also lay down to rest. He had to go to class tomorrow, so he had to stay alert. Soon, a night passed. After Yanqing and Luoxi finished washing up, they were ready to go to class. On the way, Luoxi asked the leisurely Yanqing, "Hey, Yanqing, what did you see when you came back last night?" Yanqing was about to answer, but suddenly realized it and quickly changed his words, saying, "What did you see? I was too tired at that time. I was about to go in, and you screamed and scared me." "Really?" Luoxi asked suspiciously. Yanqing's reason was far-fetched, but there was no flaw. Yanqing was sweating all over. He didn't expect Luoxi to be so cunning and actually wanted to trick him. Fortunately, he reacted quickly, otherwise he would be exposed. "Why do you ask this question?" "No, nothing, just curious." Luoxi perfunctorily passed by and stopped asking questions, and Yanqing also breathed a sigh of relief and let go of his tension. The two walked side by side, and their shadows were very long under the shining of the early sun. Yanqing was a little melancholy. The days of living with Luoxi would continue for a long time. How long can he pretend to be ignorant? Once Luoxi finds out, it will be bad. When the time comes, Luoxi will definitely be furious when all the old and new scores are settled. Hey, who said that men and women sharing a dormitory is a good thing? This is clearly a nuisance. Chapter 54, the 6th level of innateness. Unlike the schools in the old AD era, the teaching atmosphere in Xianfu is very relaxed. There is only one class a week, and the rest of the time students practice according to the practice plan formulated by the instructor. In Xianfu, people do not rely on seniority or family background, but on strength. Whoever has the biggest fist is the boss. Here, no one will urge students. As the saying goes, the master leads the way, and the practice is up to the individual. The only ones who can urge students are themselves. Only when they have the desire to practice can the practice be meaningful and they can achieve something in the future. Yanqing practiced in Xianfu in an orderly manner. Every day he would go to the Saint Yang to ask questions about practice and comprehend the true scriptures of the sun. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. On the morning of the 4th day, the sky was just getting light. Half of the red sun rose, the morning glow was gorgeous, and the warm red covered the sky, bringing vitality to the world. Yanqing was concentrating on practicing a set of boxing techniques beside a waterfall in the back mountain. His movements were as smooth as flowing water, his fists were full of energy, his feet were moving and changing, and the surrounding water was driven up and down around his body. Yanqing's breath was surging, and his training clothes were rustling. A strong boxing spirit arose spontaneously, polishing his body. This is a set of boxing techniques dating back to the old times, called Zodiac. After thousands of years of evolution, this Zodiac has become a basic boxing technique for practicing martial arts and polishing the body. It is one of the most popular boxing techniques in the galaxy. In order to consolidate Yanqing's foundation, Yi Yang taught this set of boxing techniques. But to Yi Yang's surprise, Yanqing practiced this set of boxing techniques very smoothly, and his progress was rapid. In just 3 days, he practiced this set of boxing techniques to a superb level where the wind and thunder shook at will, and the strength was like collapsing mountains. This surprised Yi Yang even more, and he nodded repeatedly, and was more satisfied with Yanqing. Swish. Yanqing exhaled slowly, and a white line condensed in the air, like an arrow, shot directly through a big tree. There are not many people who practice Zodiac to this level. Yanqing was about to finish the exercise, and his ki suddenly changed from smooth to fierce, forcing the water around his body away. A force burst out from his body, tempering his body. Yanqing's face was happy. This should be a breakthrough to the 6th level of innate. Yanqing sat down on the spot, forming the inner lion seal with his hands, chanting the Vajrasattva demon subduing mantra, which is the mantra of the word Zhe, which means to freely control the power of one's own body and the bodies of others. When using it during a breakthrough, it can increase the success rate of the breakthrough and strengthen the body to a greater extent. Zhe. Yanqing chanted in his mouth, as if there was a supreme will in his body that subdued the unruly power and used it for his own benefit. A force traveled through Yanqing's body, opening and expanding the narrow meridians, making the bone marrow produce blood, and the blood was as viscous as mercury, showing bright red, and the black impurities in the body were slowly discharged from the surface of the body. Boom. Yanqing's body shook, and the barrier of the 6th level of innateness was broken. At the same time, the Behu acupoint on his head was suddenly opened and connected to the heaven and earth. This was a natural breakthrough after the innateness reached perfection. Waves of energy poured in. This was the UN energy used by the Transcendent Realm Warriors, the most basic energy in the universe. The microcosm is the potential cosmic energy inside the human body, which refers to this so-called UN energy. In the past, Yanqing could use the microcosm to drive the UN energy in his body and force the UN energy outside to explode, but the power was not great. Now, the UN energy outside has entered Yanqing's body and merged with the UN energy in his body. The power generated is far beyond that of the Transcendent Realm Warriors of the same level. UN energy entered Yanqing's body with his breathing, passing from Behu to his cheeks, going straight down the 12 floors, and reaching Danshan through the Ren Meridian. Here, UN energy gushed out like the sea, and continued from Danshan Kahei, bypassing the perineum, along the Governor Meridian, through the coccyx, the occipital bone, and straight up to Behu, completing a small Zaoshan. After the small Zaoshan, the big Zaoshan followed. Yanqing felt that all the meridians in his body were nourished by UN energy, and his body reached a state of no leakage. Is this the power of innate perfection? It's really powerful, Yanqing said to himself. He threw a punch at the waterfall, and the wind from the fist directly cut through the flowing water curtain, smashing the stones that had been washed away by the waterfall for many years. A casual punch can cause such destructive power, which is comparable to the fist I threw after wearing the holy clothes before. No, it even exceeds it. Then what will happen after the full strength burst? I'm really looking forward to it. Yanqing burned his small universe, and the light of his body was more intense than ever, and the huge momentum was about to overturn the dozens of meters high waterfall. Freezing fist. Yanqing shouted, and the blue freezing air on his fist swung out, freezing the entire forest. The surrounding temperature dropped by dozens of degrees, and the speed of the flowing waterfall also slowed down. As Yanqing continued to release freezing air, the waterfall was completely frozen into a huge ice crystal, and the fish inside were also frozen. The area of several hundred meters around turned into a world of ice. This punch not only moved the energy in the body, but also the energy in the outside world, so it can cause this terrible blow. Yanqing murmured. He was really shocked. This destructive power was too strong. All the vitality in this area was annihilated by him, turning it into a dead silence. Just when Yanqing wanted to swing a stronger diamond stardust fist, he was suddenly hit by a chestnut on his forehead, which made him feel painful. Who did it? Yanqing said angrily. Bang! Another chestnut fell, but this time Yanqing did not dare to be angry. He saw the person who hit him clearly. Master, why are you here? Yanqing asked embarrassedly. Why can't I come? I was just about to water the flowers, but a cold wind suddenly came and made my rain and snowflowers wither. What's going on? Yi Yang was a little angry. It was rare for him to want to water the flowers, but it was ruined by Yanqing. Master, I was wrong. Yanqing admitted his mistake sincerely. He found out these days that Master Yi Yang hated people squibbling the most, so it was best to admit his mistakes directly. Forget it, I won't bother with you. However, Kinga, this place is so good that you have destroyed it. It's a pity. It's better to do less things that damage the environment in the future. Yi Yang glanced at the area and said with some regret. Well, you are about to practice the Sun Sutra, so I will show you the secret of the Sunday. Yi Yang said, and a sun rose behind him, and a three-legged golden crow with flames all over its body flew out. Thanks to Liu Xiang for the reward yesterday. 12 is very happy. By the way, I have one more thing to say. I have taken note of the friends who vote for recommendations every week. I will post a highlight post in the book review area and announce the list. Your support is 12's motivation to write, and I hope you will support 12 in the future. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Provocation from Suming. The three-legged golden crow cried out, and the sound was distant and vicissitudes, as if it came from the mythological era, which made people's hearts sway. The golden crow is the incarnation of the sun. In the past, there was an ancient legend that 10 suns crossed the sky and turned the earth into scorched earth. The sun behind Yi Yang radiated light. The golden crow flapped its wings and arched its body. One claw stretched out, and wisps of golden flames of the sun moved like fire snakes, melting the hard ice crystals in an instant. The frozen forest returned to its original green, and the frozen waterfall also flowed down with a roar. Yi Yang's control over the flame has reached a subtle level. Although it was burned with golden flames, there was no damage to the grass and trees. The water in the waterfall did not evaporate at all, and the tiny bubbles spit out by the fish in it were still intact. However, the mystery of the sun displayed by Yi Yang was not only that. The brilliance of the sun suddenly changed, and red light burst out. Strands of red light fell like spring rain, replenishing all the vitality lost by all creatures due to being frozen, and even more. After a few breaths, the area returned to its vibrant state before it was frozen. Yanqing was shocked. What Yi Yang did was simply a miracle. Is this the power of a saint? There was no great momentum, no earth-shattering energy fluctuations, only plainness and nature, but in this plainness, it can turn decay into magic, and thunder from the ground. This is the secret of the sun, Kinga. Although the sun can destroy everything, it is more important to nourish everything, and make the world full of vitality. When you practice in the future, you must not forget this. Some people indulge in killing, and often forget the true meaning of the sun. You should not follow their old path. Yi Yang took back the golden crow of the sun and said slowly, "Thank you for your guidance, Master." Yanqing came back to his senses and bowed deeply. He understood that this was Yi Yang instructing him to avoid detours. Just practice well. I'll go water the flowers. Remember not to damage the environment. If you want to try your skills, go to the practice room. Yi Yang's figure was erratic, like an ancient idle cloud and wild crane, a real person who had left the world and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yanqing touched his head. Master Yi Yang was so environmentally friendly and caring for the environment. It seemed that he could only go to the practice room. Yanqing left the waterfall with a few jumps and ran at full speed. His speed had broken the sound barrier at this time. Xianfu's practice room is located at the outermost part of Xianfu. The first 2 tests of the entrance examination were conducted in the practice room. The practice room is very solid and is made of black iron. It can withstand the attack of the immortal level. Yanqing came to the door of the practice room, took out his identity card from his body, and swiped it. The time for each Xianfu student to use the practice room is limited, so it must be used carefully and not wasted. Boom. The heavy black iron door slowly opened, and Yanqing walked in. There are all kinds of equipment here, such as barbells for exercising body strength, targets for testing the strength of energy attacks, and so on. However, Yanqing couldn't use it today. He was just here to try out his moves. Diamond Stardust Fist. Yanqing used the strongest secret of the white bird constellation right from the start. His figure was like a dancing white bird. The freezing air was overwhelming. Ice crystals formed everywhere in the room, and the temperature dropped by dozens of degrees. The energy storage time of this move was too long. If it could not restrict the opponent's actions, it would not be very effective. What Yanqing had to do was to study the Diamond Stardust Fist thoroughly and shorten the energy storage time. Not only did he have to practice the Diamond Stardust Fist, but he also had to practice the Ice Ring, the Aurora Lightning Shock, and the Pegasus Meteor Fist. The Saint Seiya system only provided these secrets. If he wanted to truly learn these moves, integrate them into his heart, and exert their maximum power, he had to work harder. Throwing his fists again and again, and spraying freezing air again and again, Yanqing practiced almost desperately. He seemed to have returned to the days when he was training at the Yang family. In this world, only by working hard can you win the respect of others. Otherwise, even with the help of the system, you can't become a real strong man. For Yanqing, what has always supported him is the flame of fighting spirit that will never go out. It is also because he has a strong will and never gives up. He gets up again and again, shocking people's hearts, which makes many people change their views on him. Among them are various families on the Crow Star, Feng Chen and other Feng family members, and his opponent Dong Fangwu. Who? Yanqing panted, and the frequent attempts consumed a lot of his small universe. Ice Ring. Yanqing pointed out with his fingers, and circles of spiral ice crystal rings were released, freezing a target directly. The energy on it was displayed as 120, which made Yanqing feel good. The attack standard of the first level of the Transcendent Realm is 100 energy units. His attack has reached the level of the Transcendent Realm. Although the release time of the Diamond Stardust Fist has not been shortened, the microcosm consumed by the energy storage is obviously less than before. The power of the Ice Ring has also increased a lot. It turns out that I have practiced too little. I should practice for 4 or 5 hours every day in the future. Yanqing analyzed himself and thought. Looking at the ice crystals covering the entire interior of the training room, Yanqing suddenly remembered the scene in the morning when Yi Yang used the Great Sun Golden Crow Dharma to melt the ice crystals. Such a means of creation made Yanqing very yearning. After a while, I will also be able to have the Great Sun Dharma like master. What kind of Dharma will I transform into at that time? I'm really looking forward to it. Yanqing thought so, and walked out of the training room. Just when Yanqing wanted to go back to the dormitory and had not left the training room area, someone suddenly stopped him. Yanqing's thoughts were interrupted, and he couldn't help but stop and look at the person who stopped him. This was a young man in green clothes, about 17 or 18 years old, with a very arrogant face and a disdainful sneer. There were 2 people behind him, who seemed to be his followers. "What do you want?" Yanqing asked calmly. He could sense the ill will from the 3 people in front of him. "Nothing. I just heard that you killed Yi Zhang and the others and were accepted as a disciple by the saint. I was very upset, so I wanted to come over to learn from you and ask for your advice. The young man in green said proudly, looking at Yanqing with a jealous look in his eyes. The young man's name is Suming. He is the heir of the Zhenxiang Su family. He was at the 6th level of the innate realm like Yang Ze during the entrance examination. Later, when he accepted the inheritance, he got the flying knife that split Mu Daoxing's Baocean seal in half, made a breakthrough, and reached the 1st level of the transcendent realm, so he became famous among the freshmen. He was very disdainful of Yanqing's record, thinking that it was all fake. The one who could kill Yizong and the others must be Fengling, not Yanqing, who was at the innate realm. After hearing the news that Yanqing, who was far inferior to him, was accepted as a disciple by the saint, he was jealous and crazy, and was very dissatisfied with the saint's vision. I'm much stronger than Yanqing, and I have good talent. Why didn't the saint choose me? Suming had been looking for an opportunity to attack Yanqing to prove that he was stronger than Yanqing, but Yanqing never came down from Xianfu, which made him helpless. Today, when he heard that Yanqing had come to the practice room, he immediately came here to block Yanqing and wanted to fight with Yanqing. You mean you want to spar with me? Yanqing asked. He also understood at this time that this person came here to find trouble, probably because he was jealous of his fate and wanted to step on him to get to the top. That's right, Yanqing, do you dare to fight? In front of so many people, you won't be scared. It doesn't matter, as long as you kneel down and kowtow to me, admit to giving up the identity of a saint's disciple, I will spare your life. Suming said loudly, and his words attracted the discussion of many freshmen around him. Suming, this is to force Yanqing to death. If you don't accept this challenge and don't kowtow, Yanqing can't mix in Xianfu in the future. I heard that Yanqing's record is very impressive. He can kill Yi Chang and others. Will Suming be his opponent? A freshman said with doubts. Stupid, do you think Yanqing's achievements are all his own? Those should be made by Fengling. I don't believe that a Xiantian realm can cross a major realm to kill a transcendent realm and a genius in the transcendent realm. Yanqing is just waiting for bad luck. Didn't Yanqing come here to be abused? Once he is defeated by Suming, not only will his reputation be lost, but it will also damage the face of the saint. It's really unwise. A freshman who pretended to be mature shook his head. Hearing these discussions, Suming laughed even more unscrupulously and said jokingly, Yanqing, why don't you choose? Are you scared and stunned and wet your pants? Don't worry, I won't kill you. At most I will just cripple you. Alas. Yanqing sighed. His red-eye disease came back, and even his head was twitching. Didn't you see that Feng Guang and Sita Khan didn't dare to attack me? Well, since you attack me like this, then I will fulfill your wish. Yanqing took a step forward, and his aura rose, as if the sound of wind and thunder followed. Yanqing said 3 words to Suming, and his tone was as sharp as a sword, making people's scalps explode and their bodies shiver. Come and fight. This chapter took 12 a long time to write, and the number of words is not small. I think everyone will be satisfied. The long-awaited battle is about to begin. Everyone, cast your recommendation votes and smash 12 to death. Chapter 56, Contempt. The Starry Sky Arena is a place for students of Xianfu to duel and exchange ideas. It has existed since the early days of Xianfu and has a long history. From ancient times to the present, the students who can stand on the Starry Sky Arena to duel are the top students among the freshmen every year. Yanqing and Suming stood on the arena, facing each other from a distance, waiting for the start of the competition. The arena was already full of people. The battle between Yanqing and Suming attracted the attention of almost all the freshmen in Xianfu. Yanqing, an S-level talent, killed Yi Zhang, Yu Fei and 5 others together with Fengling in the entrance test. He was regarded as an opponent by Dan Fangwu. He received a mysterious inheritance in the back mountain. The Saint Hori accepted him as a disciple and had a great reputation among the freshmen. Suming, a newly promoted Transcendent Realm warrior, inherited the top flying knife inheritance and ranked among the strongest among the freshmen. He was called the 6 new stars together with Fengling, Dan Fangwu, Feng Guang, Sita Kang and Luoxi. Who will win between these 2 people? Some people were discussing below. They were discussing who was stronger and who was weaker. The freshmen generally did not think highly of Yanqing. After all, Yanqing's realm was one big realm lower than Suming's. It was really difficult to attack him in reverse. After many people got the news, they rushed here. In less than 10 minutes, those well-known figures came here. The freshman exclaimed. Look, Dongfang Wu, who is not moved by external things, is here. He is really concerned about Yanqing as the rumors say. And here, my goddess Fengling is here too. She is so beautiful and charming. Why would the goddess pay attention to this kind of battle? Is the goddess here to see Yanqing defeated? Yes, it must be like this. A young man who loves Fengling lead with his eyes open and cursed Yanqing. Feng Guang and Sita Kong have come together. Are they going to form an alliance? It is said that Feng Guang has always wanted to build his own power. Is this going to start? Someone exclaimed. Luoxi male god is here too. No, I'm going to get drunk. He is simply a peerless handsome man who walked out of an ancient painting. Even if he can be my boyfriend for one day, I would be willing to die. The girl opened her eyes wide, with admiration in her eyes. The 6 new stars are all gathered. This battle is really exciting. Someone murmured. This is the first time that the 6 new stars have gathered in one place since the start of school. Suming was very excited. He liked this feeling of being the center of attention the most. He was going to defeat Yanqing here today to prove his strength. Yanqing, you will be torn apart by me slowly. I will enjoy this process. Suming licked his lips and said, don't brag. In my eyes, you are just a clown. Yanqing said calmly, not taking Suming seriously at all. Even if he was not wearing the holy clothes at this time, his combat power was far beyond the ordinary first level of the transcendent realm. HMPH, damn Yanqing, I will make you unable to say such words right away. It seems better to smash your mouth first. Suming couldn't stand Yanqing's calm and nonchalant look, as if it wasn't him standing on the ring. This kind of pretentious style should be his. The referee was an old student of Xianfu, Zuqing, who had presided over the first 2 tests of Xianfu. Zuqing and Sita Guan had wanted to win over Yanqing to join their forces, but after Yanqing became a disciple of the saint, they extinguished this idea. No one knew the power of the saint better than them. They knew very well that the person favored by the saint would not be bad. This Suming was completely seeking his own death. Yanqing, beat him up. Fengling shouted, without any goddess style, which surprised many people. Yanqing, be careful in everything, beware of his flying knife technique. Yang Ze said calmly, and his voice reached Yanqing's ears. Yanqing nodded, indicating that he understood. Luozi bit her lip, and looked at Yanqing. Although she had been very suspicious of Yanqing in the past few days, she still favored Yanqing in her heart. Zuqing glanced at Yanqing and Suming, and said in a deep voice, are both sides ready? No problem. Suming posed handsomely, causing some girls below to scream. Yanqing nodded silently, determined to resolve this farce-like battle in the shortest possible time. Then the game begins. As soon as Zuqing finished speaking, Suming jumped out like an arrow, and white energy emerged from his body, making a clanging sound like metal, forming an extremely sharp sword energy, and slashed down at Yanqing. The Su family of Zhenxiangxing practiced the White Tiger Heavenly Classic. The White Tiger is in the west, and is responsible for killing. Its energy is white gold, which can condense the world's energy soldiers, which is more powerful than the golden treasure house of the Janus family. This is Suming's full strength attack. He wants to defeat Yanqing in the shortest possible time and let everyone witness his strength. A smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yanqing could definitely not withstand this attack. The platinum blade energy seemed to have the sound of thousands of weapons colliding, tearing the space apart, as if it was going to open up the world. Yanqing did not dodge or evade, and let the blade energy chop towards his body. What's going on? Has Yanqing given up? Many people were shocked by Yanqing's inaction. Yanqing, get out of the way. Luozi was anxious. Her lips were about to be bitten. She couldn't bear to see Yanqing being cut open. Bang. With the blade energy approaching, many people couldn't bear to watch it anymore. This was a battle without suspense. The smile on Suming's mouth gradually widened. Yanqing was quite sensible. However, at this time, an unexpected accident happened to everyone. Catcher. When the blade energy was only 1 mm away from Yanqing, it was suddenly frozen and turned into a motionless ice blade. Yanqing stretched out a finger and gently tapped the ice blade. Hooala! The ice blade immediately shattered, scattered into tiny ice crystals, and disappeared into the air. This sudden situation made the entire star arena silent. The freshmen were all stunned. What kind of move was this? Was it Yanqing's counterattack? Su-Ming's smile was also frozen. He couldn't laugh at this moment. The platinum sword energy was his full strength attack, but it was easily shattered by Yanqing at this moment. He didn't even see how Yanqing made the move. In other words, Yanqing's strength was completely not on the same level as his. This was not true. Su-Ming simply didn't believe this result. Could it be that, as Yanqing said, he was just a jumping clown? This was impossible. Feng Guang's eyes flashed with coldness. After Yanqing reached the 6th level of the innate realm, his strength became stronger. Even if he understood how to use the heavenly sword, if he fought with Yanqing, the odds of winning or losing would be 50-50. Dong Fangwu was very uneasy under his indifferent expression. The man who won his respect showed strength that was no less than his. He knew that this was not Yanqing's true strength. Only when between life and death, the power that Yanqing burst out was his true strength. And Su-Ming in front of him could not force Yanqing to go that far. What moves do you have left? Use them all. Don't you want to tear me apart? If you don't make a move, then I will attack. Yanqing smiled peacefully, but in Su-Ming's eyes, this smile was as terrifying as a sickle that the god of death was about to swing. No. Thank you Liu Xiang and Beggar Gang 13 for the reward. You are really awesome. Chapter 57. The flying knife with an inch of edge faces Akalanatha. Su-Ming stumbled back a few steps, put his hands in front of him, and took a defensive posture towards Yanqing, but more than 10 seconds passed, and Yanqing had no intention of attacking. Su-Ming slowly raised his head, with a look of fear still on his face. He looked at Yanqing, and a mocking face appeared in his eyes. Su-Ming's face turned purple, and he realized at this moment that he was fooled by Yanqing. That Su-Ming in the Transcendent Realm was actually frightened by a Xiantian realm, and lost even the most basic composure. A freshman who originally thought that Yanqing would lose was stunned. On the ring, Yanqing stretched out his finger and lightly tapped, which overturned his stubborn idea that the Xiantian realm could not challenge the Transcendent Realm. Yanqing, you are really strong. It seems that there is a reason for your amazing achievements and many halos. Some people change their tone. This Su-Ming is too weak. He doesn't look like a Transcendent Realm at all. It is an insult to the other 5 people to identify him as a rising star. The admirers of the other 5 rising stars shouted loudly. Su-Ming's reaction really disappointed everyone. He had power, but no state of mind to match it. It seemed that, after he was promoted to the Transcendent Realm, he had become so arrogant that he looked down on everyone. The waves of discussion from the bottom of the ring reached Su-Ming's ears, making him want to spit blood and almost go crazy. He wanted to prove himself, but he lost face and became a laughingstock. Yanqing. Su-Ming gritted his teeth and said these 2 words, and he was even more angry with Yanqing. Master, admit defeat. You are not his opponent. There is a long way to go. Why do you have to fight today? If you get hurt, how can I explain to the master of the family? Su-Ming's servant grabbed a corner of the ring and stuck his head out, begging. Shut up, you stupid pig. You always mention the master of the family. Aren't you annoying? The irritable Su-Ming kicked the servant on the head, kicking the servant back 10 meters, spraying blood. Master, don't go. Su-Ming didn't regard the servant as a human being at all, but even so, the servant with blood on his face still struggled to get up and wanted to warn him. Yanqing frowned and said, you don't care about such a loyal servant. How did your family educate you? It's really bad. Yanqing, don't put on a high and mighty attitude and preach to me. You are just an innate realm. You don't have the qualifications. Now, I want to fight you for real. Su-Ming pointed at Yanqing and said fiercely. Now perhaps only by defeating Yanqing, or even killing him, can he save his reputation. Yanqing looked at Su-Ming indifferently, with pity in his eyes. Such an immature opponent was too easy to deal with. Platinum Tiger Main Slash. Su Ming stretched out his hands, and thousands of key soldiers merged into one, melting into platinum key, and condensed into a 4-elephant white tiger guarding the west. The white tiger stared at Yanqing, roared, and turned into thousands of troops and horses, heading towards Yanqing. Pegasus meteor fist. Yanqing's fist fell like a meteor at high speed. Pegasus soared and swooped down, smashing the enemy into pieces, and turning them into atoms. Is that all? Yanqing said lightly. Su Ming didn't seem to use his full strength. Haha, you fell into the trap. That was just my trick. Su Ming laughed wildly. He slowly raised his right hand. Between his two fingers, a crystal clear, glittering flying knife flashed. This flying knife was definitely extraordinary. Yanqing's face was solemn for the first time. He felt a breathtaking and extremely strong murderous aura on it. Moreover, Yanqing had a feeling that no matter how he dodged, he couldn't avoid this flying knife. Is that the flying knife inheritance that Su Ming got? It's really terrible. Yanqing murmured. He was serious. Facing this peerless flying knife that could take lives, he didn't dare to be careless in the slightest. The people under the ring also felt cold for no reason, as if the cold air had invaded their bodies. Only the 5 rising stars and Zuking knew that it was the murderous aura from the flying knife. What a terrifying flying knife. It's a pity that this amazing inheritance has chosen the wrong successor, Zuking said with regret. This is the unique skill left by the legendary Saint Sword God 1400 years ago. It is said that it never misses a target and no one can escape it. Yanqing, you will die under this knife. The flying knife between Su Ming's fingers shone brightly, and a ray of light appeared. This is the secret of the flying knife. Swish. Yanqing didn't want to sit and wait for death. He moved quickly, changing his body shape on the ring, leaving a trail of after images. But no matter how Yanqing dodged, he could not escape the lock of the flying knife. He wanted to rush forward and attack Su Ming when he couldn't launch the flying knife, but Yanqing's sixth sense told him that if he did so, he would die faster. This flying knife skill handed down from generation to generation is close to the Tao, and there will be no weaknesses. Yanqing stopped and took a deep breath. Maybe it's time to use that trick. This situation is really not good. Yanqing closed his eyes. His small universe silently accumulated. An invisible force floated out, and everything around Yanqing was shattered. There was silence in the crowd. They knew that from here on, the real peak duel would begin. Once the two of them made a move, it would be earth-shattering and terrifying. Su Ming's mouth cracked, and he felt happy. This was the attitude he should have, controlling people's life and death like a god. The inch of light became more and more intense, and finally at this time, it was dazzling to the extreme. One knife. Su Ming made a move. The name of this move was very simple, just one knife, but this knife was a peerless knife that made the whole world pale. It instantly tore the clouds above, and it could make ghosts and gods cry. Swish. A cold light passed through the space, and the speed was unknown how many times faster than the speed of sound. Everyone present, including Zuking, could not see the trajectory of the flying knife. The inch of light on the crystal clear flying knife was close to Yanqing's throat. Yanqing. Fengling lost color and his face turned pale. Yanqing. Yang Ze was startled and clenched his fists, his nails digging deeply into the flesh. Yanqing. A trickle of blood flowed from the corner of Luozi's mouth, and his heart suddenly shrank. At this critical moment, at this instant, Yanqing suddenly opened his eyes and uttered an ancient voice that resounded through the soul and shook the sky. That was the real ancient Sanskrit, the mystery of Buddha, and the mystery of Virgo. Akalanatha. There was an endless universe spinning in Yanqing's eyes, and an invisible defense wall burst out from his body, resisting the mysterious flying knife. The strongest attack and the strongest defense appeared at this moment. The point of the violent collision burst out with an extremely shining light, and everything was covered by this light, and could not be seen clearly. The time of the collision was very short, but also very long. It was an instant of eternity. The light that made everyone unable to look directly at it shone to the strongest, and finally exploded. Boom. Chapter 58. Dead Flying Knife. Boom. After the light sublimated to the extreme like fireworks, it quickly disappeared. Everyone opened their eyes and looked towards the ring at the first time. The result of this competition was really of great concern. They wanted to know whether Yanqing's defense wall blocked the flying knife or the flying knife broke Yanqing's throat. Tick, tick. Yanqing's hands were covered with scars, and blood kept flowing down and dripping on the ring. He lowered his head and seemed to have lost consciousness. On the other side, Su Ming knelt on the ground with a pale face. The flying knife that shocked the world and made the gods weep was not something that could be sent out casually. It was at the cost of Su Ming's overdrawn potential and the energy of his whole body. At this moment, he had no strength in his body. Did Su Ming win? A freshman broke the silence and murmured. This flying knife is too scary. It is probably comparable to the full force of an immortal. It is great that Yanqing can survive. This is the unique skill of the knife god. Someone sighed. At the moment, when Su Ming launched the flying knife, he was so absorbed that his eyes could not move. This result is very good. Feng Wang's face was very calm, but the slightly upturned corners of his mouth showed that he was in a good mood at the moment. He originally thought that Su Ming would not pose a threat to Yanqing, but he did not expect that Su Ming's flying knife was unexpectedly powerful, causing Yanqing to lose. Zhu King looked at Yanqing with regret. Anyone who encountered this magical skill that was like a cheat would only lose. Yanqing Luoxi murmured. Seeing Yanqing who lost consciousness, she had a complex emotion in her heart, unhappy, angry, sad. No, Yanqing will not lose. You don't know him. Fengling was pale, but still insisted on her point of view. She and Yanqing had crossed the vast land, and no one knew Yanqing better than her. Yanqing, I know you won't give up. Yang Ze whispered. Yes, based on my understanding of that man, it's still a long way to defeat him. Dong Fangwu looked at Yanqing steadily, without any disappointment in his eyes. Su Ming forced himself to stand up. He won, with a wanton smile on his face. So what if he was a disciple of a saint? He still lost to him. He was the most dazzling new star among the students of Xianfu this year. Zhu King raised his hand and said, the game is over. The winner is, wait. A voice came, and Zhu King stopped talking in astonishment. This was Yanqing's voice. Did he wake up? Everyone's expression was also shaken by the voice, and they looked at Yanqing. Yanqing slowly raised his head, his eyes were bright, and his body stood upright like a mountain. He said word by word, I, Yanqing, haven't fallen yet. Aren't you unconscious? Su Ming stretched out his hand tremblingly, pointed at Yanqing, and said in disbelief. Ah, your moves are indeed very powerful. If it were someone else, they might have fainted. Unfortunately, my will is not that weak. My will is like a mountain, and no one can shake it. Of course, if it weren't for the secret of Akala, I might really fall under this flying knife. Yanqing raised a hand covered by his sleeve, and a crystal clear flying knife appeared between his fingers, causing many people to exclaim. Yanqing actually caught the flying knife. How could this happen? The crowd was in an uproar. The situation took a sudden turn, which was really incredible. Feng Wang's face darkened. He didn't expect Yanqing to stand up again. Except for his injured hands, other parts of his body seemed to be uninjured. I knew you were fine. If you lost, it wouldn't be you. Feng Ling said with a smile, with an inexplicable look on her face. Yang Ze had a smile on his face. He also knew that Yanqing, who had repeatedly broken the impossible, would not lose. Luozi was stunned. She didn't know Yanqing's past, and didn't understand Yanqing, so she was very surprised by the performance of Yanqing, her roommate. The game is over. Dong Fangwu turned and left. He had seen everything he wanted to see. Impossible, my flying knife will not lose. Su Ming's inner fear surged up again. He looked at Yanqing who was slowly walking over and stammered. This peerless flying knife is indeed more powerful than I imagined, but the use of knives also depends on the person. If it was a flying knife thrown by an opponent who is obsessed with martial arts, then it would not lose. Unfortunately, it is you who is using it. You have no martial arts spirit, are boastful and irritable, and pay attention to reputation and status. How can you exert the power of this flying knife? The spirit and will cannot be united with the flying knife. Even if you can send out the flying knife, it is dead. Yanqing ejected the flying knife, and the flying knife made a ding sound, and pierced at Su Ming's feet. Su Ming was shocked, and took a few steps back. He couldn't stand steadily, and fell to the ground. No, the flying knife I sent out is not dead. No. Su Ming fell to the ground with a panicked look on his face and retreated. It's a pity that such an inheritance chose you. Yanqing shook his head and stretched out a hand, grabbing with 5 fingers, and the frozen air condensed into a ball, emitting cold air. Yanqing, don't attack. I give up. I give up. Su Ming was very scared. He trembled, and suddenly a sound of water came out. Su Ming was ashamed and angry, and he was directly scared to death by Yanqing. The crowd under the ring booed. They looked down on Su Ming's cowardly behavior. Many girls who admired Su Ming also cast contemptuous eyes. Students in Fu are not so cowardly. You actually asterisk. You are really a rotten wood, with a golden exterior and rotten cotton inside. It's about you, a child of aristocratic family. Even if your cultivation has been smooth sailing, but you have not experienced real battles, and have not faced the threat of death, you are like a flower in a greenhouse. Once you encounter wind and rain, you will wither. Yanqing sneered and looked down on Su Ming. In that case, I'll end this farce. Yanqing was about to swing his freezing fist, but suddenly a faint voice stopped him. Wait, don't hurt my young master, please. The servant with blood all over his face struggled to climb onto the ring. The starry sky ring. No outsiders are allowed to enter, and you still don't retreat. Zuking scolded sternly. Yanqing shook his head at Zuking and said, Senior brother Zu, the battle is over. Let him come up. Okay. Zuking hesitated for a moment and agreed. Yanqing walked over, stretched out his hand, and pulled the servant up. Thank you. With gratitude and shame on his face, he bowed deeply to Yanqing. Then he immediately ran to Su Ming's side at the fastest speed, and supported Su Ming. Young master, are you okay? Is it okay? The servant looked at Su Ming anxiously and asked. My business is not yours, a fool. Su Ming was about to push the servant away, but he suddenly saw Yanqing's stern eyes and stopped. The servant successfully helped Su Ming up. He was weak, and had experienced a huge mental shock. After feeling the sense of security from his own servant, Su Ming fainted, and fell on the servant. The servant smiled very gently, and carried Su Ming on his back. He walked to Yanqing with a grateful look on his face. He knew that it was because of him that Yanqing held back his anger and did not take action. I'm really sorry. I apologize to you on behalf of the young master. It's all my fault that I didn't stop the young master at that time. The servant said seriously. Is this really good? You are spoiling him like this. Yanqing sighed. There's nothing good or bad. This is a duty. We have a goal to protect since we were born. The young master is alive. So no matter how he treats us, we will not complain, because as long as the young master is safe, that's the most important thing, said the servant. Yanqing was silent for a while, waved his hand, and let the servant leave. This servant has his reasons for sticking to it, and others cannot shake it, just like him. The servant bowed deeply to Yanqing again with great effort to express his gratitude, and slowly left with Su Ming, disappearing at the end of the path. First of all, I apologize. In order to write this chapter well, the time has been delayed a little. 12 story must be exciting, and of high quality. I hope everyone will understand. I have recorded the book friends who voted for recommendations in the past 2 days on the post. You can go and have a look. Thank you again for the rewards from Beggar Gang 13 and Liangxiang. You really touched 12. Finally, tomorrow is the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. I wish you all a happy time. As for the rest, we will talk about it after the Mid-Autumn Festival. Chapter 59. Aging Organs. The competition ended with Yanqing's victory. In the competition, Yanqing, with the Xianshan realm, crossed a major realm to defeat the Transcendent realm and caught the stunning sword. The record shocked everyone. In the end, Yanqing asked Su Ming's servant to take Su Ming away. This noble state of mind made people respect him from the bottom of their hearts. Feng Guan took a deep look at Yanqing. This man was indeed the biggest obstacle for him to control the freshman. Although Yanqing had no intention of competing with him, Yanqing's existence itself was an obstacle. I will fight you in the future. It won't be too long. Feng Guan whispered, turned and left. It was meaningless to stay here at this time. Yanqing walked down from the ring, and the dense crowd separated a path for him. This was a respect for the strong. He walked up to Feng Ling and said, I'm sorry, I didn't beat him up like you wished. It doesn't matter. I knew the result after that servant went up. I'm not surprised at all that you did this. Fengling shook her head and said gently. In fact, she was very angry that Su Ming cut Yanqing's hands, but at this time she had to cooperate with Yanqing's statement. When she returned, she must make Su Ming pay for it. That's good. Yanqing smiled slightly and was about to walk towards Yangze, but suddenly his body shook violently and staggered a few steps. Before Yanqing could stand firm, his chest suddenly hurt to the extreme. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out of Yanqing's mouth, and he fell backwards. Yanqing! Fengling changed color and supported Yanqing, who fell down. Yanqing fell down. Was he really injured by that flying knife? But it's no wonder. Who can take such a knife easily? Injury is inevitable. Someone in the crowd said. Shut up. Fengling had a look of hostility on her face. If Su Ming really hurt Yanqing so badly, she would beat Su Ming into a cripple in a moment. No matter how loyal his servants were, it had nothing to do with her. Fengling, my Yang family Xian Lun Gong has a healing effect and can heal Yanqing. Yangze squatted down and said to Fengling. Really? Fengling doubted. Well, believe me. A fairy crane appeared behind Yangze and blessed Yangze. One of his hands emitted a soft green light and pressed on Yanqing's chest. The Yang family Xian Lun Sutra not only has extremely strong combat capabilities, but also has powerful healing capabilities. What? Yangze's eyes suddenly widened, and he said in surprise, how is this possible? Yanqing's body is like a big net, with holes everywhere. The healing energy went in and dissipated directly. Yangze's hand lit up green again. The huge healing energy still disappeared quickly after entering Yanqing's body, without giving Yanqing a trace of moisture. This is too strange. Yangze murmured. This is simply not in line with common sense. Let me take a look. Zuking came over, and the Yuan Gang refined by Yuan energy in his hand surged out, probing Yanqing's body. After a few breaths, his expression became surprised. Yanqing was not injured, but his organs seemed to have aged, as if he had been deprived of his life. Yanqing vomited blood, because the blood flowing in his body did not lose its vitality. The aging organs could not withstand the impact of the blood, so they ruptured and caused him to fall. This is very strange. Why did Yanqing's body organs age? Was he attacked by someone? Su Ming, I'm going to kill you. Fengling's eyes were full of murderous intent, causing the people around him to retreat several meters. No, this is definitely not Su Ming's doing. This is caused by the real power of the law. Su Ming, that kid, doesn't have such strength. Even immortals like us can't do it. Maybe it's a saint. Zuking analyzed, and his words also caused countless inhalations. A saint wants to plot against Yanqing? This is incredible. Ahem. Yanqing's body trembled, and he kept coughing up blood. The blood around his mouth flowed and never stopped. We can't delay like this any longer. Fengling was worried and confused. At this time, Yangze made a decision. He said, let's go find the Saint Haori. At this time, only the saint can save him. No need to find me, I'm here. Yi Yang's expression was grim. He had been paying attention to the movements of his disciple on the mountain. He was very satisfied with everything Yanqing did on the ring, but Yanqing's sudden fall gave him an ominous premonition. Especially what Zuking said later, which made him hundreds of miles away in anger. A saint plotted against Yanqing? What's going on? Why did Zuking make such a judgment? The speed of a saint can reach the speed of light. Yi Yang raised his foot and the end of the world was within reach. He crossed the long distance and came to Yanqing's side in an instant. Sage Haori. Many people exclaimed that the saint was so concerned about Yanqing. Yi Yang's mental power swept over Yanqing's body. Seeing the organs that were constantly collapsing, he frowned. This was indeed the damage that could only be caused by a saint. Who did it? Now Yi Yang couldn't think so much. The most important thing was to save Yanqing. Yi Yang stretched out his hand, and Yanqing immediately fell from Fengling's arms to his hands. After Yanqing was separated from her hands, Fengling felt a sense of loss. She moved her lips, looked at Yi Yang, and mustered up the courage to say, Sage Haori, please save Yanqing. I will definitely do it. He is my apprentice. Once a teacher, a father for life. I will try my best to wake him up. Yi Yang answered solemnly. He did not ignore Fengling. just because he was a saint. Yi Yang took a step forward and disappeared from everyone's sight. Luozi was a little stunned. When she saw Yanqing's performance today, she felt very unfamiliar with Yanqing for the first time. Even though she and Yanqing had become roommates, she didn't know Yanqing at all. Perhaps in the future, she should learn more about this person, who made her heart waver. After Yi Yang returned to the bamboo house, he placed Yanqing on a 1,000-year-old warm jade for healing. Now he had to ensure the activity of Yanqing's cells and restore Yanqing's body organs to normal. Daridama. All things are reborn. A three-legged golden crow soared into the sky, and the sun radiated light. A huge amount of vitality fell and entered Yanqing's body, but Yi Yang also suffered the same situation as Yangze, and the vigorous vitality dissipated. However, Yi Yang's strength was countless times stronger than Yangze's. Even though 99% of his strength disappeared, there was still a trace of strength left, which restored Yanqing's heart a little. It works, Yi Yang said in surprise. But I'm afraid it's not enough for me alone. Yi Yang's mind rushed out hundreds of miles, and he used his special mental power to tell the other three saints about the situation here. In just a few seconds, the three saints rushed to this place. When they saw Yanqing, their faces were serious. They were indeed hit by the power of the law. Who is it that has murdered such a freshman? Mu Daoxing said in a deep voice. It's shameless to bully the weak with the big. Duan Mizuan's face was covered with frost, and he scolded. This matter must be thoroughly investigated, but we must first treat Yanqing. When he wakes up, we will definitely know many clues. The quiet and inactive Gu Chen was also angry. There was actually a saint who took action under the noses of the four of them. This was a naked slap in the face of Xianfu. Daoxing, Zuana, Gu Chen, you transfer the Yuan energy to me, and I will do the specific operations. Yi Yang said with difficulty. Yanqing's injuries were too difficult to repair. He tried his best, but he could only repair about 10%. Okay. The three saints nodded, and 3 rays of divine light fell on Yi Yang to form an energy bridge. With the power of the 4 saints, Yi Yang's Dharma image immediately soared, and the aura of the golden crow rose endlessly, rushing straight into the sky. The brilliant sun dyed the entire sky red, as if there were 2 suns in the sky. Resurrect me. Chapter 60. 3 years of life. Late at night, the moonlight sprinkled like water, the sky was dotted with stars, and from time to time there were meteors passing by. There was a meteor shower today. Fengling put her hands together and prayed. Although she didn't believe in such things, she was powerless, and could only grasp this empty thing. She bowed her head, and made a wish at this moment. May he be safe. The 3 saints left with exhaustion. It took them 2 days and 3 nights to finally repair Yanqing's body. Yi Yang sat next to Yanqing, waiting for Yanqing to wake up. There was a sad look in his eyes, because although they restored the activity of Yanqing's cells, that activity could only last for 3 years, which meant that Yanqing could only live for 3 years. Even if Yanqing reached the transcendent realm, the immortal realm would not be able to extend his lifespan. Unless he became a saint and reached the saint realm, he could change his lifespan. However, even if he was a genius, he could not reach the saint realm in just 3 years. Even Zeman Jianshan took 9 years, and this was the fastest improvement speed in the entire galaxy. Yi Yang really didn't want to tell Yanqing this cruel news. He was afraid that Yanqing would be hit and never recover, and the 3 years would be wasted. But if he didn't tell Yanqing, he would find something wrong with his body in a few days. Yi Yang's eyes flashed with a sharp light. If it wasn't for that saint, his disciple would never be in this situation. Now he just had to wait for Yanqing to wake up and tell him the information of that person. In this way, Gu Chen could use the sky peeping technique to find the location of that person and then kill the saint. A night passed, and in the early morning, Yanqing woke up. As soon as he opened his eyes, he saw Yi Yang's worried face. Yanqing was stunned, and the memories in his mind played like a slideshow. He understood that he had suddenly vomited blood and fainted, but why was he lying here? Kinga, you're awake. Yi Yang smiled. Although Yi Yang's smile was as kind as always, Yanqing felt sad in it. Master, what's wrong with me? Yanqing asked. He looked inside his body, and each organ was weak. He had some guesses in his heart, but he couldn't be sure. Kinga, you. Yi Yang uttered a few words and then stopped. He still couldn't say it. He didn't want to see Yanqing's decadent look. Speak, master, I can bear it. Yanqing said calmly. Kinga, you were plotted against by a saint, and you only have 3 years left to live. Unless you become a saint, there is no other hope to increase your lifespan. Yi Yang spat out the cruel facts, but what Yi Yang didn't expect was that Yanqing's expression remained calm, and he was not scared. Master, I knew it a long time ago. In fact, more than a month ago, I only had 3 years left to live. And I wasn't plotted against by someone. There was a reason why my lifespan was exhausted. Yanqing slowly told his secret, shocking Yi Yang. You mean you knew it a long time ago? Well, yes, but I didn't expect that the physical problems would break out after that battle. If it weren't for you, master, I might have died. Yanqing said to Yi Yang. It's not just me who did it. The other 3 saints also helped. Kinga, what exactly is the reason that you have 3 years left to live? This? Yanqing hesitated for a moment and was about to answer, but was stopped by Yi Yang. No, since you have something to hide, forget it. I'm not the kind of person who asks questions. It's enough for me to know that you are my disciple. Yi Yang said with a smile. A warm current surged in Yanqing's heart. Yi Yang was really good to him. He was very lucky to meet such a master. Then Kinga, what are your plans for the future? I don't know, but I will try my best in these 3 years. If I can't become a saint, I will use all my strength and disappear without regrets. Yanqing said with a carefree smile. What a willful idea. There are still many people in this world who care about you, such as your family, your friends, and the girl from the Feng family. Yi Yang said with a hint of meaning. I also know that this is a willful idea, but I used to be afraid that if I disappeared, it would make people sad, so I didn't dare to have too much contact with them. But now after experiencing this incident, I have changed my mind. When life is happy, you must enjoy it to the fullest, and don't let the golden cup face the moon in vain. Although this sentence is negative, it makes sense. I will move forward with the support of my friends, relatives, and everyone, and keep moving forward until I can't move forward anymore. This is my apprentice. Yi Yang clapped his hands and laughed. Be brave and radical in your actions, and be cautious in your heart. As long as you do these 2 things, you will live a happy life. Yanqing said heroically. Master, do you have wine? How can there be no wine? Come. Yi Yang stretched out his hand, and there was immediately a box of wine on the table. He opened it casually and gave half to Yanqing. Today, the 2 of us, master and apprentice, will sing to the sun and not stop until we are drunk. Master, cheers. The 2 of them were drunk. Yanqing was very weak and was the first to get drunk. Yi Yang sent Yanqing back to bed. The sun shone, and the vigorous life energy was transmitted to Yanqing, allowing him to sleep peacefully. Yi Yang took 2 bottles of wine and walked out of the bamboo house alone. He drank silently, one sip after another, thinking quietly. As a master, he had to do something. A day passed, and when Yanqing woke up, he found that there were 4 saints around him. Yanqing was so shocked that he almost rolled off the bed. Boy, you kneeled down as soon as you saw us. Did you break your head? Zodiac said. I didn't break my head. Yanqing choked out a word. This mountain and river saint was still as wretched as he had seen before, and his style did not change. Little Yanqing, I heard that you can't live for more than 3 years. It's so sad. Don't worry, I won't forget you. When the 4th year comes, I will go to pay homage to you. Duan Mazuan said harshly. Should I thank you for your concern? Yanqing was speechless. Were these 2 people here to mock him? If these 2 were not saints, he would have wanted to ridicule them. Zuana, Daoxing, since you are here, don't be upset. This decision was made by the 4 of us together. Yi Yang frowned. I know, I just complained. Daoxing said with a smile. Me too. Duan Mazuan snorted coldly. Yi Yang turned his head and said to Yanqing kindly, Kinga, don't mind what they say. I asked them to come here today for you. For me? Yanqing was surprised. Well, we are going to use a large-scale sky peeking technique to find your best future in the long river of fate. The future is endless, and every node will cause changes in the future. We believe that among the infinite futures, there must be a future in which you survive and become a saint. We are going to find it today and let you get closer to this future. Give you hope of survival. Today is delayed again. 12 really wants to poke himself to death. The typing is too slow, but there are 2 good news to tell you. The first is that today, which is Sunday, there will be 3 more updates. Everyone can enjoy it. The second good news is that the original book friends wanted to have character pictures. Today, I spent an afternoon and finally found a master who is willing to make these character pictures. Although it is paid. But this is also very good. When it is produced, I will create a group and everyone can join in and see it. Finally, thank Yanqing for the reward. Chapter 61. The Crossroads of Fate. As Yi Yang said, the past remains unchanged, but the future is infinite. If we grasp the present and foresee opportunities, we can change the future. Gu Chen stroked his beard and said, "Boy, why don't you thank us quickly? To enter the long river of destiny, the price to pay is very heavy." Mu Daoxing snorted. Yanqing bowed deeply and said, "Thank you, Master and the Saints. I can't repay you. I, Yanqing, can only remember it in my heart and wait for the future. Kinga, there is no need to do this. We are also doing this for Xianfu." Yi Yang shook his head. For Xianfu? Yanqing was puzzled. What is the connection between saving him and Xianfu? You will know about this matter later. There is no need to say more. Since Kinga, you have woken up, let's start quickly, the sooner the better. Yi Yang said. Yes, Master. Yanqing had to suppress his doubts in his heart, cheer up, and watch the 4 saints show their mighty power. 7 stars. Gu Chen took a mysterious step, and a light blue lotus flower appeared with each step. 7 steps and 7 flowers. The blooming lotus was in the shape of the Big Dipper, with ripples of Tao. Borrowing things, Gu Chen's Taoist robe fluttered. He stretched out his hand and pointed at Yanqing, and Yanqing's 7 strands of hair moved without wind, naturally fell off from Yanqing's body, and floated into the 7 lotus flowers. This is to borrow Yanqing's aura to find that corner of the future in the long river of fate. Gu Chen used a small sky peeking technique in the past, but he couldn't see Yanqing's future. This was not because Yanqing's future was very special, but because there was an inexplicable force blocking it, like the power of time and space. But this time he wanted to rely on the power of the 4 saints to temporarily penetrate this unknown force and see Yanqing's future. Deduction. An ancient Taoist sword appeared in Gu Chen's hand, and he stepped on the 7 stars and stabbed out with a sword without a sound, as if breaking through time and space, causing a great shattering of space. This was the prelude to opening the long river of fate. Gu Chen swung his sword again, like an antelope hanging its horns, blending in with nature, and cut a tiny mysterious 5-colored gap in the gray, broken space, as big as a grain of rice. The time has come, no need to worry, go all out. Gu Chen shouted, opened his mouth and spit out the Xianqing sword, broke into the space, and cut the slowly closing 5-colored gap open again. Sunshine. Ice for thousands of miles. The great seal of overturning the heavens. Full. The 3 saints overdrew all their power at this time, evolving their respective laws to the extreme. 3 divine radiances that were enough to shatter planets fell, and the 5-colored gap expanded again, becoming as big as a millstone. Peek at the sky. Gu Chen seized the opportunity, and 2 words with the aura of the great Dao came out of his mouth, falling between heaven and earth, causing 5 thunders to hit the top of the head. This is a forbidden power, and once used, it will be envied by the sky. Mountain Embrace Seal. Mu Daoxing grabbed a mountain and blocked the divine thunder that came from nowhere. Gu Chen, hurry up. Yi Yang raised his hand, and a 3-legged golden crow surrounded by the golden flame of the sun turned the lightning into invisible. I understand. And Duan Mizuan, protect Yanqing, neither me nor him can be harmed. The sword in Gu Chen's hand broke into pieces, and the pressure from the long river of destiny made him very tired. Gu Chen, I know without you saying it, this kid is the disciple I once wanted to accept, and protecting him is the most important thing. Duan Mizuan waved his sleeves, and ice crystals fell. Except for the 3 meters around Yanqing, other places turned into an ice country. Gu Chen nodded slightly. He closed his eyes, and the Taoist spirit rushed out of his body and drilled into the 5-colored gap. Only invisible power can swim in the long river of destiny, and there is no other way. The long river of destiny is colorful and bizarre. Although Guchen is not the first time to enter here, he is still amazed by the great power. The mighty river of destiny, from the beginning of the ancient universe, extends to the infinite future, with no end. Waves surge up. They are the saints and even emperors who are struggling in the river of destiny, and cannot get rid of the shackles of fate. No one can transcend this river of destiny, unless they are gods. Guchen felt Yanqing's breath, a faint sense of traction, which made Guchen relax a little. He used Yanqing's breath as a guide, to break the direction of the long river of destiny. Sure enough, it was not far from Yanqing's future. He flew quickly along this sense of traction, and soon found a corner of Yanqing's future in a place where waves were splashing. There were countless small water droplets, and there was an infinite world in each small water droplet. For a future of Yanqing, Guchen probed out his mental power. He swept it slightly and was disappointed. In this future, Yanqing died 3 years later. The picture he saw was Yanqing's relatives and friends offering sacrifices to Yanqing's tomb. Guchen probed into another small water drop, and the picture he saw was still grey. Within 3 years, Yanqing would go crazy, age and die. After looking at one small water drop after another, Guchen felt a little anxious. These were all the futures of Yanqing's death without exception. There was no hope. Could it be that Yanqing really couldn't survive? If he didn't hurry up, the time for the sky peeping technique would be up. Guchen was determined in his heart. No, even if it cost me my life, I must find Yanqing's future. He might be the hope of Xianfu's revitalization in the future. Sky peeping technique. Guchen's soul suddenly became much more transparent, which was because he consumed the original energy. Divine light burst out from his eyes, like the eyes of heaven sweeping over the small water drops. The world in the small water drops was reflected in the eyes of the soul. This was a method of rapid insight, which could explore hundreds of future worlds in an instant. Boom. The sea of thunder surged, and countless lightning bolts descended, splitting the void apart. It was as if the entire world had reached its final moment, and was about to be destroyed. The entire Xianfu star was in a state of precariousness, as if it was facing the end of the world. Boom. Sizzle. It was not just lightning and thunder. There were terrifying law fluctuations between heaven and earth, which gave the lightning a vitality, and turned it into various shapes, including ancient tripods, divine towers, large bells, and even human-shaped lightning. This was simply too terrifying. Yi Yang and the other two tried every possible way to make it disappear. Instead, the power of the heavenly tribulation became stronger and stronger. Oh no, if this goes on, let alone finding Yanqing's future, even Xianfu star may not be saved. This lightning can simply split the big star into pieces. Mu Daoxing held a large seal in front of him to block the world-destroying lightning that fell on Xianfu star. Is Guchen still not done? We must tell him to finish. In 5 minutes, no, 3 minutes, we will be annihilated together with Xianfu star. In the past, we used the sky peeking technique, and the lightning was not so scary. Is it really different for different people? Duan Mizuan's mouth was bleeding. She was struck by lightning once to protect Yanqing. Guchen, you have to hurry up. Yi Yang murmured, his body stained with blood. He was the most seriously injured. Because the lightning in the sky was concentrated on Guchen, Yi Yang, as a guardian, had to block it. Yanqing had tears in his eyes. The four saints really paid too much for him. Even a drop of water is returned with a spring, let alone this great kindness. He made a decision in his heart that he would spend his whole life to repay the expectations of the four saints and revitalize Xianfu. Found it. Guchen's soul trembled. He finally found a future with bright colors. He stretched out his spirit and checked the world inside. Boom. As soon as Guchen's soul saw a picture, he was directly blasted away by the power of this small water droplet for hundreds of thousands of miles. At this moment, his soul was completely transparent and was about to disappear, but Guchen was delighted because he saw the key to Yanqing's survival in that hopeful future. In that violent little water droplet, Guchen saw a phoenix bathed in fire singing in the starry sky, a soaring blue dragon chanting in the Milky Way, and two mythical beasts flying around Yanqing. At the same time, behind Yanqing, a large blue star emerged. Gu Chen recognized this planet at a glance, because this is a holy place that every saint must go to for further study after becoming a saint. The origin star of the human race, Earth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, The Lord of Xianfu. Yanqing's chances on the human race's first star? Gu Chen pondered. At this time, his soul finally couldn't hold on and broke directly, turning into a rain of light and disappearing in the long river of fate. Puff. Gu Chen coughed up a mouthful of blood. The connection between his soul and him was suddenly disconnected, which damaged his mind. Fortunately, the picture of the future stored in his soul was received back intact by him. Gu Chen, how is it? Is it finished? Yi Yang saw Gu Chen return and said anxiously. Well, I found it. Gu Chen smiled. That's great. Yi Yang felt relieved. He was most worried about not being able to find a future without Yanqing. Now Gu Chen can find it, which is the best result. Hey, don't talk about this first. Gu Chen, did you use the ultimate version of the sky peeking technique? This time the thunder punishment is too terrifying. Mu Daoxing said with difficulty. At this time, his hands had been broken. You know, his strongest power is in his hands. It is really terrifying that this heavenly tribulation lightning can break his hands. Gu Chen raised his head, his face solemn. This was the 7th heavenly thunder, which could shatter a large area of space. Judging from the scale of this thunder, if Mu Daoxing and the other two had not resisted it, they would have swallowed up Xianfu Star with the tearing force generated by the distortion of space. I will also attack, Gu Chen said in a deep voice. Gu Chen, aren't you already seriously injured and your soul shattered? Why do you still want to attack? I haven't been sitting idle in the Sutra library for the past few decades. Gu Chen's body shook slightly, and two souls separated from his body, the same size as Gu Chen. This is the art of one breath into three pure ones. Yi Yang said in surprise. Yes, otherwise I wouldn't dare to use such a large-scale sky-peeking art. Although I lost a soul, it doesn't matter. The most important thing now is to protect Xianfu Star. Gu Chen took a deep breath, flicked his sleeves, and countless lightning fell into his sleeves and turned invisible. This was the world in his sleeves, which greatly reduced the pressure on the three saints. But the situation did not improve. The lightning was still brewing. After the blue-white lightning changed, it turned into purple lightning. A trace of lightning popped out, releasing the energy to destroy everything. Sizzle. The lightning was surging, and the purple lightning was surging. The whole sky turned into a sea of thunder at this moment. This breath made countless creatures on Xianfu Star tremble and crawl down. Boom. The students of Xianfu looked at the thunder punishment in shock. They could feel the terrifying breath contained in it. They knew that the reason why this agitated lightning had not caused great damage was because the saints had been fighting against this terrifying heavenly tribulation. Why did my Xianfu suffer such a terrible attack? I hope the saints can hold on, otherwise we are finished. A freshman was very scared. Don't worry, this is Xianfu. No one can destroy it. The four saints of our Xianfu have fought on the front line and fought with the Zerg for life and death. They will never lose. An old student said with a smile to calm people's hearts. Not good. This heavenly tribulation is sublimating. If it becomes the 8th level of purple sky thunder, the four of us can't withstand it together. Now we must use the combined attack technique to defeat this heavenly tribulation in one fell swoop. Gu Chen made a decision. Also, Mu Daoxing, use the talisman to wake up the mansion master. If we can't solve it, only the mansion master can solve it. I understand. Mu Daoxing took out a talisman, infused it with laws, and made the talisman light up and fly away instantly. This was given to him by the mansion master of Xianfu, and it can only be used in times of crisis. Yanqing was protected by Duan Mizuan behind him. He wanted to help, but he couldn't help in a battle of this level. A trace of lightning could turn him into charcoal. Perhaps he could only help when he became a saint. Four symbols combined attack. The wills of the four saints were twisted into a rope by an invisible force and combined together. 4 different laws intertwined and merged with each other. A force of the great Dao slowly emerged and condensed, turning into a human-shaped phantom that stood tall and upright. A pair of eyes on the face of the human-shaped phantom flashed with cold light. He waved his hand, and a huge meteorite fell from outside Chyanfu Star, trying to smash this heavenly tribulation into nothingness. Boom. Lightning flashed, 9 thunder lights shot out, and the meteorite exploded instantly. The thunder pool in the sky turned, and another 9 thunder lights struck down, pointing directly at the human-shaped phantom. The human-shaped phantom grabbed with his big hand, and crushed the 9 thunder lights directly. Break the sky. The 4 saints roared together, exerting all their strength. This was the strongest attack. They put all their strength into this move, and must defeat this heavenly tribulation that was about to sublimate. The human-shaped phantom waved his fists. Around him, there were Cheyenne Mountain, 0-degree ice crystals, the Golden Crow Sun, and the Xian Shandao sword. The mighty force of the law rushed out, enough to destroy everything in the world. The heavenly tribulation seemed to be furious, and endless lightning submerged the human-shaped phantom. Purple lightning blasted out, crushing the power of the law of the human-shaped phantom. Lightning of various shapes swooped down, with the power of annihilation. Boom. The 2 forces collided, like the Big Bang of the universe, opening up the world. The dazzling light covered everything, and the saints could not see it with their eyes of heaven. It was not until 10 seconds later that the world returned to peace. Did it succeed? The saints looked up against the light, and what made them desperate and powerless was that the heavenly tribulation still existed, and it was successfully sublimated, and became even more terrifying. Damn, how can we fight this? Mu Daoxing's broken hands were dripping with blood, and he was completely exhausted. Master, why are you still coming out of retreat? If you hit us again, we can't bear it. Gu Qin coughed. I'll do it. This matter was provoked by me. Since it has turned into such an uncontrollable consequence, I must take responsibility. I will use my life to change everything. Yi Yang's face was firm. He did not regret his choice. He wanted to bear the consequences alone. Yi Yang, don't do anything stupid. Duan Mazuan panicked. Master, no, you don't have to do this for me. Yanqing looked painful. He didn't want his master to sacrifice for him. It was worthless. Yanqing just took a few steps, but his body was too weak. Yi Yang hit him casually and he fainted. There is no time to lose. Yi Yang's body lit up, as if something was burning. Yi Yang's life was disappearing rapidly, and the gathered power turned into a real solid 3-legged golden crow. No. Duan Mazuan shed tears, but in order to save everyone on Chyanfu Star, she couldn't stop him. However, just when Yi Yang was about to make a move, a chuckle sounded in everyone's ears, making Mu Daoxing and Gu Chen Saint's faces immediately full of joy, and their hearts were at peace. Duan Mazuan's tears also stopped. Yi Yang, do you want to give up your life so easily again? I have said it many times, but it is still useless. You still like to act on impulse. A wisp of invisible wind slid gently, instantly extinguishing the flame of life on Yi Yang's body and replenishing the life lost in Yi Yang. A man sat on a stone bench outside the bamboo house with a relaxed smile on his face. His breath was very peaceful and blended into nature, as if he had been sitting there all the time and had never left. He knocked on the teacup with one hand, making a ding-ding sound, with a leisurely expression, and seemed to not care about the heavenly tribulation. Yi Yang took a few breaths and slowed down. He raised his head and smiled at the person sitting there. I haven't changed in so many years. I really disappoint you, but it's great that you can arrive in time. Please defeat the heavenly tribulation, our master. Chapter 63, The Human Emperor. The third update is delayed. The man sitting on the stone bench was actually the 4th Lord of Chyanfu, Daking Gai. If Yanqing was awake, he would be so shocked that he would be speechless. The 4 saints presided over the affairs of Chyanfu and could often be seen as the actual controller of this starfield and the master of the entire Chyanfu. Daking Gai has always been very mysterious. People only know that he sits on the throne, like a god, watching everything in the starfield with emotionless eyes, but they can't know any news about him, as if the 4th Lord of the house had never appeared. Now this Lord of the house has appeared in Chyanfu Star. If people know about this, it will definitely cause a big earthquake in the entire starfield. Daking put down the teacup, stood up, looked at the thunder pool surging in the sky, the vast ocean of purple lightning, and then looked down at Yanqing on the ground, saying playfully, "This heavenly tribulation is really interesting. The sky peak technique used by Gu Chen will not trigger such a thunder punishment. It must be caused by this person who has the same origin as Zeman." "That's right." Gu Chen nodded. He was not surprised that Daking could see through Yanqing's background at a glance, because this was their mansion master, who could turn the impossible into the possible, and possessed the most powerful power of mankind. "Very interesting boy. His name is Yanqing. Wait for him to wake up. Ask him to come to me," Daking said to Yi Yang. "Thank you, mansion master." Yi Yang was pleasantly surprised. Yanqing would definitely gain a lot from being able to be received by Daking. "Well, next we should deal with this thing above our heads. It seems that it has accumulated enough power." As soon as Daking finished speaking, thunder rumbled in the sky, and countless purple night thunders fell and struck them. Originally, the divine thunder of this time was much more powerful than the last time, but at this time, the four saints showed no fear on their faces, and did not resist for Chyanfu Star, because they knew that they did not need to do anything. Boom. The thunder was so powerful that it had the power to collapse the sky and split the earth, and shatter the void. The vast lightning flooded this place, turning it into a sea of thunder. Another thick lightning column blasted out, which was more powerful than the human-shaped phantom synthesized by the power of the four saints. The sky and the earth turned into a vast expanse of white, and even some meteorites and asteroids near Chyanfu Star exploded. However, this blow that was enough to destroy the world did not hurt anyone on Chyanfu Star at all, because a person gently stretched out a finger and resisted all the attacks of the heavenly tribulation. Not bad. The power of the law can be sublimated again. Just out of retreat. My body is itchy. Daking said calmly, his extended finger slightly pointed out. There was no brilliance, no terrifying energy fluctuations, but all the attacks of this heavenly tribulation were instantly disintegrated. Bang. A big hole suddenly appeared in the middle of the heavenly tribulation, which had never been damaged, as if it had always been there. The saints stared at Daking movements without blinking. This was something that was very rare to see at ordinary times, and it was very useful for comprehending the power of the law. The heavenly tribulation closed up at once, healing the big hole, and a stream of lightning was brewing again, and it seemed to be sublimated, and turned into the 9-layer heavenly thunder. Interesting. The law of thunder can also be transformed in this way. The power of heaven and earth is really amazing. Daking nodded. He gained new insights from this heavenly tribulation. You know, after reaching this supreme realm, very few things can touch him. Boom. The sky thunder appeared again, and this time the lightning turned directly black, sizzling, emitting infinite murderous intent, and a trace of lightning fell on an asteroid, immediately turning the asteroid into cosmic dust. Pop. The thunder pool in the sky exploded directly this time, and all the lightning became more than twice as thick, and the huge impact force generated directly penetrated an asteroid belt outside Chyanfu Star. Chyank divine thunder, meaning the thunder punishment from the heaven, is the most terrible thunder. Only when the laws of the universe are destroyed on a large scale, this divine thunder that can destroy saints at will appear. Sizzle. The black lightning seemed to reopen the world and return the universe to chaos. The laws were directly torn apart by this power. This is a power that overrides the laws. All the creatures on Chyanfu Star trembled. What a powerful force it is, just like a god. This time, the students of Chyanfu also knelt on the ground and could not get up. Their bodies were not under their control at all. This was a complete suppression of their spiritual will. Facing the strongest thunder in the universe, Daking expression was still calm. Just when the black lightning fell and was about to turn Chyanfu Star into nothingness, Daking made a move. He stretched out a hand and grabbed the black lightning. This hand was not small, covering the sky and the sun, and was larger than a star. It seemed like a big hand from heaven that could crush everything. The black lightning fell into this big hand without any ripples and was evaporated in an instant. The four saints were shocked. Although they knew this would be the result, they were still very moved after seeing it. So this is the structure The next time we meet the Moon God King, we can get some good things with this. It's been a long time since new equipment entered Fu. Daking Gai said, touching his chin. The heavenly tribulation in the sky seemed to be shocked by Daking Gai's power at this time. It stopped accumulating power, and the lightning was a little dim and weak. It seems that the 9th level is the limit. This kid still can't trigger enough. If it is the 12th level of thunder, maybe I can stretch my muscles. Daking Gai glanced at the heavenly tribulation. There were countless terrible scenes in his eyes, including the universe, the beginning of the world, the disillusionment of galaxies, and the explosion of big stars. Bang! The heavenly tribulation was like a balloon punctured by a needle. It dissipated in an instant without leaving a trace. Daking Gai waved his left hand gently, and a gust of wind appeared, blowing across Fu Star, allowing everyone's body to return to normal and move freely. Not only that, Daking Gai stretched out his right hand and grabbed in the starry sky, and those destroyed asteroids were immediately remade and placed in their original positions. After doing all this, Daking Gai exhaled and smiled at the 4 saints. I haven't done these things for a long time, and it's really a bit tiring. You go and rest, especially you, Yi Yang. Although I have restored your vitality, if you don't quickly integrate the vitality into your body, then the vitality will be gone. Yi Yang's mind moved at this time, and he stepped forward and said, Master, can you restore Yanqing's life? Oh, I can't, although I really want to help him, but he can only rely on himself. Well, the matter ends here. I'm going to rest in my bamboo house, don't disturb me if you have nothing to do. Daking Gai said. His figure twisted like water waves and disappeared. At this time, the 4 saints realized that what Daking Gai had left just now was just a phantom, and the real him had already left. The palace master is getting stronger and stronger. Gu Chen was very emotional. Although the saints were very strong, compared with Daking Gai, they were like fireflies competing with the bright moon. This is how the palace master should be. There is nothing surprising about this. After all, the palace master is a human emperor at the highest level of human beings. Mu Daoxing said slowly, with respect for Daking Gai in his eyes. The 3rd update is completed. Although it is a little late, 12's integrity is still preserved. Today is Mid-Autumn Festival. I wish you all a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Don't forget to enjoy the moon tonight, and eat a few moon cakes. Of course, the most important thing is to reunite with family. 12 is out of town and can't go home. It's a pity. Friends who return home must get along well with their families, because 12 feels that there is nothing warmer than being with family. Chapter 64, Conversation with the Lord of Fu. After the calamity, the Fu Star returned to its former tranquility. No one knew about the appearance of the palace master Daking Gai, except the 4 saints and Yanqing. Everyone thought that the calamity was destroyed by the 4 saints. At this time, Yanqing was walking on a steep path in the back mountain of Fu. He was going to meet the palace master of Fu. Just a day ago, after he woke up, he went to find Yi Yang immediately despite his physical weakness. However, before he stepped out of the door, he was pressed back to bed by Duan Muzuan. Duan Muzuan told him what happened after he fell into a coma. Hearing that Yi Yang was in retreat to integrate vitality, Yanqing suddenly relaxed. He was very afraid that Master Yi Yang would get into trouble because of him. When Yanqing heard that the palace master wanted to see him, he was stunned. The palace master wanted to see him? He was very nervous. It was like an ordinary person getting an audience with the emperor. It was incredible. What kind of person is the palace master of Fu? He asked Duan Muzuan, but Duan Muzuan did not tell him. Instead, he asked him to go see the mansion master himself. Only by seeing him with his own eyes and talking to him would he know what kind of person the mansion master is. Daking Gai also built a bamboo house in the back mountain, but few people knew about it, and Daking Gai was often not here. The students of Fu thought it was an abandoned bamboo house. After walking for several hours, Yanqing finally came to Daking Gai's residence. This is a very remote place, located on the hillside of the back mountain, surrounded by clouds and mist. The bamboo house is very old, and the rows of bamboo tubes are rotten. Next to this dilapidated bamboo house, there is a green pine rooted in the rocks, lush and green. Under the green canopy, there is a stone table and several stone benches, covered with dust. It can be seen that no one has been here for a long time. Yanqing was very confused. Is this the residence of the mansion master? It is too shabby. He walked carefully to the door of the bamboo house, bowed deeply, and said, "Student Yanqing, come to pay homage to the master of the house." 5 minutes passed, and there was no response from the bamboo house. Yanqing was very confused. Could it be that the master of the house was not here? He shouted again, "Student Yanqing, come to pay homage to the master of the house. I hope the master of the house will see you." Yanqing's voice echoed in the mountains and spread far away, but the bamboo house was still silent. Is he really not here? Yanqing was a little confused. He walked closer to the bamboo house and saw that the gate was covered with dust like a stone bench under the green pine. Yanqing felt a little disappointed, but also relieved. Paying homage to Daking was very stressful for him. Just as Yanqing was about to leave, an invisible wind suddenly blew up Yanqing's long hair, causing Yanqing to stop in his tracks. He felt the breath of a person behind him. Yanqing looked back and saw a handsome man sitting on a stone bench with his back to him. His breath was round and natural, blending with the void. A great aura was spreading, as if he was going to shake the heavens and penetrate the 10 earths. Yanqing's Adam's apple slid a few times. He stared at this man blankly. His heart was surging and violent. There was no reason, just an intuition. Yanqing knew that this man was the fourth lord of the mansion, Daking. "Yanqing, sit down." Daking turned around, revealing a pure and unworldly face. In his hand, a cup of tea was emitting hot steam, as if it had just been brewed. Yanqing walked over gently and sat opposite Daking. He didn't dare to sit down, but Daking's voice seemed to have a kind of magic that made his body move with it, and he couldn't refuse. "I'm really sorry, I just went to the Sagittarius star region and asked for a cup of tea, so I made you wait for a while." Daking took a sip of tea and said, "No, it's okay, Lord, I'm honored that you can see me," Yanqing said nervously. Daking's appearance shocked him so much that he couldn't keep his normal mood. "You have to know that the person sitting in front of him is the controller of a starfield, the emperor of the human race. Very nervous. In this case, this cup of tea is for you." Daking smiled and handed the tea in his hand to Yanqing. Looking at this cup of tea, Yanqing didn't dare to take it, but he didn't dare not take it. He stretched out his trembling hand and took the cup of tea. There was only one piece of tea in this cup, with dense patterns on it, forming a Takai diagram. This is definitely not an ordinary tea. Yanqing knew that this cup of tea must be very valuable. He hesitated and didn't dare to drink it. "Why don't you drink it? Is it because of my saliva? Do you think it's dirty?" Daking looked at Yanqing with amusement. No, I'll drink it now." Yanqing waved his hand quickly and drank the tea in the cup. Just after he drank the tea, his mind became calm and a nervous feeling disappeared. A mysterious power surged into his sea of consciousness, turning into a Takai diagram, which slowly expanded his sea of consciousness by more than double. Bang! A mental storm was set off in the sea of consciousness, and Yanqing's mental power soared directly. The original sixth sense of the initial stage of cultivation directly jumped to the sixth sense of the intermediate stage. The small universe became more brilliant, and the aura of the 88 constellations also became stronger. Yanqing looked at Daking with a smile, and was very grateful in his heart. This was really a great gift, which shortened a lot of cultivation time. Now that your mind is stable, let's talk about business next, and this is why I summoned you here. Daking's smile changed and replaced with a serious expression. "Please ask the master of the house to order. Yanqing will fight to the death to complete it." Yanqing said sincerely. He owed Fu too much. The grace of teaching, the grace of saving lives, the grace of increasing cultivation, etc. These favors made Yanqing not know how to repay Fu. "Yanqing, in 3 months, I want you to go to Earth and represent Fu in a competition held by all star regions." Daking said. He pointed his hand, and a celestial map appeared. There were many star regions on it, and there was a red bright spot in the middle. That was the Earth of the beginning star. Palace Master, this is no problem, but my strength is weak, and I'm afraid I can't take on the heavy responsibility. Yanqing said. It doesn't matter. In these 3 months, Fu will do its best to train you. This time, my Fu will definitely beat all the star regions and win the first place. Daking said slowly with an inexplicable look in his eyes. Palace Master, win the first place. This is difficult. Yanqing said bitterly. Although he was quite confident in his strength, he could not beat the geniuses of all the star regions. This was not to belittle himself, but the conclusion he came to after having a deep understanding of his own strength. This is indeed difficult, but you still have to win the first place. This is a competition for geniuses from all star regions. Palace Master, can I do it? No problem, you will definitely win the first place. Daking still said slowly. Master, what if I can't do it? Yanqing had a bad feeling and asked tentatively. If you can't do it, well, then don't come back. Daking laughed heartily. Yanqing's heart trembled. Master, has this turned evil? He was completely unkind. At this time, Yanqing remembered that Daking was the leader who reformed Fu and tied the families of the Centaur star region to the Fu chariot. Ambitious, and very strong. This is Yang's evaluation of the master of Fu. Yanqing, since you have just agreed, there is no time to lose. Hurry up and practice. After 3 months, if you can't get the first place, you know what to do at that time. Daking patted Yanqing's shoulder, smiled, turned around and disappeared. Yanqing wanted to cry, but had no tears. He realized at this time that he was deceived by Daking appearance. The master of Fu was not easy to get along with. After giving a sweet date, he showed his sharp fangs in an instant. What should I do to defeat all the geniuses in the starfield? Yanqing yelled in frustration, his voice echoing in the mountains, shaking countless birds into flight. By the way, is there anyone to appreciate the moon cake? 12 is currently 0. Which book friend can make it 1? Chapter 65. Guidance from the future. Yanqing returned to Yi Yang's residence in despair. There are tens of thousands of geniuses in various star regions, and there are also many monsters who have reached the immortal realm at this age. It is simply impossible to win the first place. Moreover, his body is very fragile now. If he bursts out with all his strength, it is very likely that his organs will age again, and his body will collapse like before. Yanqing lay on the bed in depression, and his mind was full of things that Daking had told him. Yanqing couldn't help but sighed. Daking thought too highly of him. Now he could only ask the system for help, although the system had always been reluctant to help him. But in the absence of hope, he could only ask the system for help. Yanqing's consciousness sank into the sea of consciousness, stepped into the system hall, and said, System, I want to win the first place in the star region, at least to reach the immortal level. Is there any way? Even if it is overdrawing rewards, bearing more harsh conditions. Sorry, host, there is no way. The system's answer was ruthless. Although this was within Yanqing's expectations, Yanqing really didn't want to hear this answer. Really? Yanqing asked without giving up. There is no such thing, host. You might as well improve your own strength quickly. You can't win by relying on external things. The system was rarely humane and advised. I know what you mean, but it is not easy to improve from the Xiantian realm to the Xiantian realm in 3 months. Yanqing sighed again, and his consciousness withdrew from the system hall. Kinga, what are you so sad about? A laugh came, and the voice was very familiar. This is Master. Yanqing's face was full of surprise. He looked at the door and Yi Yang, who was full of energy, walked in. Master, has your body recovered? Yanqing said in surprise. I have integrated the vitality given by the master of the house, and now I have recovered. Yi Yang said that's great. Yanqing had a smile on his face. The news of Yi Yang's recovery diluted some of his worries. By the way, Kinga, why did you sigh just now? Yi Yang asked. Yanqing hesitated for a moment, but still told Yi Yang the truth. When he heard that Daking wanted Yanqing to win the first place, Yi Yang took a breath and was shocked. The palace master is too chaotic. This competition is full of strong people. It is extremely scary. I also participated in this star level genius competition. Among more than 1,000 contestants, I only made it to the second round and was defeated. With master strength, he could only make it to the second round. Yanqing said in surprise. Because I met a monster and was defeated in an instant. In other starfields with high energy concentration, some monsters are very scary. Their combat power can be raised to the level of quasi-saints in an instant. Wherever they go, no one can resist them. Yi Yang's expression was serious, and he told the experience of the competition he had experienced in the past. Master, when you say that, I have even less hope. Yanqing's expression became even more bitter. Alas, the mansion master is a stubborn person. No one can change what he said. Once he said it, he must implement it. So, Kinga, if you really can't complete it, I'm afraid you really can't come back. Yi Yang's words completely broke Yanqing's fluke mentality, making Yanqing almost despair. Yi Yang looked at Yanqing, who looked grey, and realized that what he said was too harsh, which had completely hit Yanqing's confidence. Yi Yang smiled awkwardly and said, but, Kinga, you don't have to worry. The mansion master is very thoughtful and never says things that he is not sure of. Since he said that you can get the first place, there is hope of getting the first place. Really? Yanqing was skeptical. Of course it's true, and Kinga, don't forget that in the long river of time and space, Guqin found your future 3 years later. I think the competition 3 months later should not be difficult for you, otherwise there will be no such future. After hearing Yi Yang's words, Yanqing regained some confidence. In a certain future, he will definitely be able to deal with this problem, because he will still exist 3 years later. Guqin drew a picture for me. This picture contains the future information of your survival. If you can really interpret this picture, it will surely solve the current competition and your lifespan problem. Yi Yang took out a picture and handed it to Yanqing. Yanqing unfolded the picture and saw what was on it. His eyes immediately widened, and his body trembled. In this picture, Guqin and I only recognized that the blue star is the original star Earth, and the azure dragon and phoenix in the myth and legend are unknown. We need to check the ancient books for this. Maybe we can know it. Yi Yang sighed. No need to check, master. I really want to know the meaning of these two things. Yanqing raised his head and said excitedly. The worry between his brows swept away. Kinga, do you really understand? Yi Yang was shocked and said, if I'm not mistaken, this should be the Phoenix constellation, and this should be the Draco constellation. They are all produced by a mysterious power in my body. Yanqing no longer hid the secret this time. Yi Yang was willing to make such a great sacrifice for him, and taught him sincerely. Although the time was short, Yanqing truly recognized Yi Yang as his master, and placed him in the most important position in his heart, on the same level as Yang Su. So that's how it is. Your 3 years of life should also be related to that mysterious power. Yi Yang nodded with relief. Yanqing was able to open up to him, which showed that Yanqing had completely recognized him. Yes, master, I encountered danger when surviving in the wild before. This mysterious power consumed a lot of my life in order to save me from death. Yanqing explained the cause and effect. I didn't expect it to be this reason. We thought it was the saint who took action, and suspected many people. However, this is also good. Since it was caused by the mysterious power, it should be solved by the mysterious power. Every sip and every bite is destined by God. Yi Yang sighed. Yanqing thought about it, and his excitement slowly faded. He frowned and said, Master, although I know that these two constellations are the opportunity for me to survive, how can I obtain these two constellations? I have previously obtained the inheritance of 2 constellations. One is Pegasus, which I rely on my willpower to match, and the other is Aviary, which was frozen in an ice coffin and absorbed the cold air. Now, what conditions can trigger these 2 constellations? This is a problem. Yi Yang smiled slightly and said, I did think of a triggering condition. If I'm not mistaken, the key to the Phoenix constellation is the Sun Sutra. Sun Sutra. Yanqing's eyes lit up, and he blurted out, could it be that the Phoenix is the great Sun Dharma image? Yi Yang nodded and said, it's very likely, Kinga, your innate realm has been perfected, and there is no problem in impacting the transcendent realm. In order to consolidate the foundation, you have to wait for a while to break through, but in the current situation, it's too late. You should take good care of your body and break through immediately after reaching the best condition. I understand, Master. Yanqing was full of confidence. If the Great Sun Dharma image was really a phoenix, perhaps the system could really pass on the inheritance of the phoenix constellation to him. At this time, Yanqing felt hope spreading from his heart again. Thanks to the overture of the undead and the unlimited rewards, 12 is very happy. 12 said one thing. 12 posted a post in the book review area, which has a book friend group. Book friends can go in and play. I also looked at the previous chapters. When I thanked Liu Xiang for the reward at the end, I wrote it as Liang Xiang. Sorry. Chapter 66. Transcendence. At dawn, the first ray of light appeared between heaven and earth. On the top of the mountain behind Qianfu, Yanqing clasped his hands together in a bull-like shape, with his 10 fingers separated, and his palms apart, holding the Hunyuan seal, connecting with heaven and earth. Behind him, a blurry shadow of the sun appeared, echoing and blending with the sun in the sky. The Sun Sutra, the sacred scripture of the sun lineage, can be transformed into a Dharma image after reaching the transcendent realm, greatly increasing the combat power of the practitioner. The higher the level of the Dharma image, the greater the increase. Yi Yang's three-legged golden crow is the highest level of Dharma image, which can double its combat power. Yin and Yang are separated. Yin turns to death, and Yang gives birth to vitality. There is a sacred tree in the far east, with a high sun hanging, and the sun shines everywhere. I turn into Zai, riding 6 dragons, and the chariot moves slowly. Yanqing recited the scriptures in his mouth. This is the ancient legend of Zai chasing the sun. The ancestor of the sun lineage was inspired by this, and created this peerless sacred scripture, to drive the sun for his own use. Yanqing's clothes moved without wind, and streams of energy gradually left his body, and merged into the sun above his head. The red shadow of the sun gradually solidified and became clear, emitting a faint light, which was reflected on the flowers and plants on the top of the mountain, triggering a vibrant green. The innate and perfect breath slowly disappeared, replaced by a breath full of ethereal and attached. This is the transformation of the mortal world. From the innate to the transformation of the mortal world, the body must undergo a baptism, not only to remove dust, but also to sublimate the internal organs, bones, skin, and blood of the whole body. Warriors in the transformation of the mortal world are the reserve of immortals. After reaching the transformation of the mortal world, as long as they understand a little lore, they can become immortals, and cultivate immortal bodies. A stronger momentum than before burst out from Yanqing's body, broke through the clouds, and shot towards the stars in the sky. Qi-Chan crossing Dao. King Er actually achieved Qi-Chan crossing Dao, even though he couldn't exert his full strength. This is an action that only a saint can do during a breakthrough. It seems that I still underestimated King Er's potential. At the foot of the mountain, Yi Yang stared at Yanqing, and said in surprise, "Boom boom boom." A thunderous sound came from Yanqing's body. This was forging bones, strengthening the bones of the whole body. The abundant energy was like the ups and downs of the sea, sending out waves, like a tsunami. The surging blood and qi made Yanqing's face rosy. His whole body seemed to be bathed in red rays of light. The surging vitality burst out. Yanqing suddenly felt extremely refreshed. He couldn't help but raise his head and roar. The sound was like thunder rolling through the mountains, and even the students far away in Qianfu could hear it. Is this Yanqing? The haggard Fengling was shocked. She had not seen Yanqing since he vomited blood and fell down. When she heard Yanqing's continuous howling, she showed a look of surprise on her face. She could hear the excitement and the howling. When she broke through the transcendent realm, she also made the same sound. Have you broken through to the transcendent realm? This is finally fair. I really want to fight you now. Dong Fangwu's eyes were filled with burning fighting spirit, and his whole body was full of vigor, forcing pedestrians who passed by him to retreat 10 meters. The process of transcendental is not simple. After completing the bone forging and blood exchange, there is also physical training. Yanqing suddenly opened his eyes. He stood up, and his muscles all over his body burst, but Yanqing still didn't blink. This pain was far from what he had experienced. Bang, bang. Yanqing waved his fists, and the sun behind him moved with it, emitting 1,000-foot light. The golden flames of the sun bloomed like lotus flowers, wrapping Yanqing's whole body, making Yanqing's whole body dyed with a layer of golden light, like a golden armored god in mythology. This is the fiery sun fist. It is a boxing method recorded in the Sun Sutra, which can control the golden flames of the sun. The power is really terrible. Yanqing's body seems to be integrated with the heaven and earth. Every movement carries a great momentum, with the power of mountains and rivers, and can simply smash the mountains. Boom. Yanqing's boxing method changed again, and the sun that was transformed into two. With a punch, a sun fell. The golden flame burned the sky, and boiled the sea, and the sunset melted gold. This is the 9 sun fist. When practiced to the extreme, it can be transformed into 9 suns. With a punch, 9 suns fell together, and even a saint could not stop it. Use boxing to sharpen the spirit and temper the body. Although it is painful, once successful, you can reach the first level of perfection in the transcendent realm. Although it is urgent, it is acceptable. Gu Chen said. Good boy, your talent is really terrifying. You have already understood 2 boxing techniques from the Sun Sutra. At this level, your combat power is definitely not inferior to those monsters. Mu Daoxing sighed. When he breaks through and transforms into a Dharma image, Yi Yang, you can ask him to come to me. I will teach him the secrets of the Baotian seal and the use of the 9-character mantra chanting seal. Before going to Earth, adding a bit of strength means more vitality. Yes, my Hanshin Gong should also be able to provide some help to Yanqing. The game on Earth is broadcast throughout the star region. It is a great opportunity for my Fu to rise. Duan Mizuan said. In her hand, a wisp of cold air flowed, controlling the sun gold flame emitted by Yanqing within a certain range. Yi Yang looked at Yanqing seriously. He also had the great sun, so he could feel that Yanqing's sun was accumulating terrifying power. This was a cocoon. When the accumulation was full, it would inevitably explode in an all-round way, like breaking a cocoon, giving birth to a very strong Dharma image. Yanqing's body was constantly reorganizing, and his muscles were newly formed, very strong and powerful, covering his tendons and bones. He bent down, his spine stretched out, and he attacked like a big dragon. His fists blasted out, and countless golden lines flashed by, blasting dozens of 100-meter-high boulders into pieces. Hey, what kind of move is this? Yi Yang, why have I never seen you use it before? Mu Daoxing asked curiously. Yi Yang was shocked, and calmed his mind and said, this is not a move in the Sun Sutra. I'm afraid it was created by Yanqing himself. What? Yanqing could actually create his own moves. The 3 saints were shocked. Those who can create their own moves must be immortals at least, because this involves the field of laws. Moves are not so easy to create. You must change the essence to be called creation. Just changing the form is just imitation. Yanqing can do it in the transcendent realm, which must be very familiar with boxing. Boom. Yanqing looked at the huge rock that had turned into debris, and he couldn't help but be a little stunned. He just had a sudden idea and wanted to use the Pegasus meteor fist to hit the sun flame. He just tried it, but he didn't expect it to succeed, and it was super powerful. The golden lines in the sky reminded Yanqing of Leo's lightning speed fist. Of course, the lightning speed fist can hit hundreds of millions of punches in 1 second, so this imitation move is naturally not comparable, but this move is definitely very useful. The power of the sun flame is not small, and this move can be used as a move like the Pegasus meteor fist or the Aurora lightning impact. Just when Yanqing wanted to try this move again, he stopped suddenly, because he suddenly felt that the sun had finally accumulated enough power, and the Dharma image began to break out of the cocoon. P.S. I have set up a book club. The group name is the most exciting Saint Seiya system. The numbers are 389-513-875, and I forgot to mention yesterday that 12 wanted mooncakes, and a few hours later, the number of mooncakes increased from 0 to 4. You guys are so generous. Finally, I would like to thank Beggar Gang 13 and Liu Xiang for the rewards. Chapter 67 The Burning Phoenix. Is the Dharma image coming out? Yanqing's heart was agitated. What exactly is the Dharma image born under the sun's rays? Could it be the phoenix that he and Master Yi Yang had guessed? Yanqing raised all his energy and poured it into the sun. The sun's light shone brighter, and the golden flame surged, A clear cry suddenly sounded, which made Yanqing dizzy for a moment, and even the 4 saints who were watching trembled. What kind of cry is this? It can actually shake the saint's mind? Guqin couldn't keep calm at this time. This Dharma image of the transcendent realm was too unscientific. It directly crossed 2 realms and affected the saints. It should be the phoenix. Yanqing was excited. The phoenix's cry was like a flute, and the sound was like a bell and drum. This was recorded in ancient books. The clear cry just now was very similar. At this time, the sun exploded with a bang, and the Dharma image finally began to manifest. The blazing flame spread all over the sky, covering the sky and the sun, and it was about to burn the sky and set off a torrent of space. Even the clouds in the sky thousands of miles away were dyed with a layer of red, like a red fire cloud. The Dharma image has not yet appeared, but it has already made such a great momentum. It seems that this Dharma image is definitely not inferior to your 3-legged golden crow. Duan Mazuan sighed. Yi Yang nodded and said, indeed, this should be the top Dharma image. Although the 3-legged golden crow is the incarnation of the sun, some mythical beasts can still be ranked with it. Kinga's Dharma image is probably a phoenix. Phoenix, that's it. Guqin understood. He recorded the future message map and naturally knew what it meant. Boom. All the flames gathered and condensed into one, turning into a colorful phoenix with its wings spread and a high-pitched roar. Chicken head, swallow chin, snake neck, turtle back, fishtail, colorful, about 6 feet tall. This is indeed the characteristic of the phoenix. Yanqing's heart calmed down at this moment. Although the huge phoenix was burning, it did not make his body hot, but became very calm. The phoenix closed its wings, and the flames rose up, turning into a brilliant sun, shining on the back mountain of Xianfu. After practicing the Dharmakaya, the Sun Sutra has reached a minor success. When it reaches the immortal realm, it will reach a major success. At that time, the power of the Dharmakaya is enough to evaporate a river in an instant and easily smash a mountain. At this time, both the breakthrough to the transcendental realm and the practice of the Sun Sutra have been completed, but Yanqing is still waiting, because he knows that after the Phoenix Dharmakaya is produced, the system should appear. Host, get the power of the Phoenix and trigger the Phoenix constellation inheritance. The voice of the system really sounded, and Yanqing smiled. The Phoenix constellation may be the strongest bronze constellation among the saints Sire. I believe the inheritance of the Phoenix constellation must be very powerful. Yanqing's mind moved, and he came to the small universe, where a phoenix was soaring in the bright sea of stars. As soon as Yanqing's consciousness fell, the phoenix flew up, and became one with Yanqing. Legend has it that the phoenix is a burning immortal bird that is reborn from the ashes every 500 years and becomes stronger each time it is reborn. The moves of the Phoenix constellation depend on the microcosm. The stronger the microcosm, the more powerful the moves of the Phoenix constellation are. The system slowly stated. A huge stream of information poured into Yanqing's sea of consciousness, and the mystery of the Phoenix constellation appeared and was comprehended by Yanqing. Phoenix wings flying in the sky, Phoenix magic fist. Although there are only these 2 moves, Yanqing feels like his brain is about to explode. This is because the information inherited by the Phoenix constellation is different from the previous Pegasus constellation. White Bird constellation contains moves for mental attacks. Phoenix wings flying in the sky is to press a huge fist around the body, rolling up a fierce wind like the wings of a phoenix. This fierce wind is enough to cut through the space and rub out flames, which can then hit the flame fist. The terrible fierce wind and the flames that burn everything bombard the opponent together, with enough power to shatter the stars. Phoenix Magic Fist is the first mental attack technique Yanqing has obtained. The previous Phoenix Cry was able to capture people's hearts and shake the saint's mind. It is estimated that this factor is also involved. This move can control the enemy's mind, attack the enemy's nerves, expose the darkest part of the opponent's heart, and make the enemy fall into great fear and mental breakdown. This is the secret of the Phoenix constellation, simple and practical. In the original work, Yi is the strongest bronze saint. In the Hades chapter, after learning that Shun has turned into Hades, the king of the underworld, the anger of the phoenix burned Aegus, one of the 3 giants of the underworld. Flames also appeared on Yanqing's body. Behind him, a phoenix looked up to the sky and cried, flapping its wings, and endless flames surged. At this time, the Dharma image on Yanqing's head also appeared, and two phoenixes sang together. What's going on? There are actually two phoenixes? Mu Deoxing said in surprise. The phoenixes sang together, circling and circling, and their voices gradually overlapped. Yanqing looked strange. He could feel the power of the two phoenixes, and there was an attraction, as if they were of the same origin and were one. If he hadn't gathered his mental power, the phoenixes might have already merged. Kinga, let go of your mind and let these two phoenixes merge. Yi Yang shouted excitedly. Yanqing was stunned, and after understanding Yi Yang's meaning, he let go of the two phoenixes without hesitation. He knew that Yi Yang must have a purpose in saying this. After the two phoenixes had no power to hinder them, they immediately turned into two rays of light and merged together. Bow. A ball of light exploded loudly, and a huge phoenix struggled and screamed inside, seeming to be in pain. Yanqing was also pulled, and his body bent down. The flames from nowhere burned him, and the body that had just been cast exploded again, and blood splattered everywhere. Yi Yang, Yanqing is seriously injured. Will this cause any problems? What if his body organs age again? Mu Deoxing said anxiously. No, I know very well that these two phoenixes combined together to make the phoenix reborn, which means that Yanqing is now in nirvana. Once the nirvana is successful, Yanqing's strength will be improved again, and Yanqing's body may change because of this. After all, the phoenix is an immortal bird with the most tenacious life. Yi Yang shook his head and said, Yanqing's spirit was stretched to the extreme, and suddenly it broke, causing Yanqing to fall straight down and lose consciousness. His whole body became like black charcoal, almost withered and lifeless, which was burned by the phoenix flame. Yanqing. Yi Yang's face changed drastically. Did Yanqing not survive, or did he guess wrong? Yi Yang took a step forward, and came to the top of the mountain. Just as he was about to help Yanqing up, a fierce flame tornado suddenly enveloped Yanqing's broken body and quickly repaired Yanqing's body. This was a very gentle healing flame, which allowed Yanqing's consciousness to begin to recover. Regeneration after nirvana. Yi Yang said in shock. Yanqing's fingers moved, and he slowly stood up. The old skin that had been burnt into charcoal fell off piece by piece, revealing a crystal clear, strong and powerful body. Chapter 68. Rebirth from the Ashes. Every time the phoenix is reborn from the ashes, it will become more brilliant and powerful. The phoenix seat inheritance that Yanqing obtained also has this characteristic. His cultivation level, which had just reached the first level of the transcendent realm, began to improve again. The color of the flames around Yanqing changed, from red to cyan, and then from cyan to light blue, becoming increasingly rich. The billowing burning flames turned into a phoenix with spread wings, circling around Yanqing. Even Yi Yang, who controlled the golden flame of the sun, felt a burst of heat from the flames on Yanqing's body. The cold air in Duan Mizuan's hand increased rapidly, suppressing Yanqing's flames in a small area to prevent them from affecting the back mountain. But even so, this mountain range began to melt, and the hard boulders could not withstand the aftermath of the blue flames, and decomposed into the most primitive atoms. Bang, bang. Yanqing's body was filled with a heartbeat like a drum, one after another, and it was like a rumbling thunder. His strong and powerful heart was beating, and the sound echoed between heaven and earth, causing the four saints to change color. Not only did the heart have strange phenomena, but Yanqing's bones also crackled and popped. The fire phoenix suddenly drilled into his body, making Yanqing's flesh transparent, and the flowing blood and bones were almost visible. Yanqing's body began to burn again, but this time it was reborn in the flames. His bones shattered, then grew again and continued. Every pore was steaming with bright red clouds. That was Yanqing's blood flowing out and turning into blood mist. Does this mean that I have to change blood and forge bones again? Impossible. Gu Chen was shocked. No one in history has ever been able to change blood twice when entering the transcendent realm. This is to set a precedent that has never been done before. Once the blood is changed and the bones are forged twice, Yanqing's combat power in the transcendent realm will be absolutely unimaginable. Yanqing's Phoenix Nirvana was chosen at the perfect time. Such a miracle has never happened before. If he exchanges blood and forges bones twice in a row, Kinga will probably enter the second level of the transcendent realm and condense a star core. Yi Yang smiled. He was very proud to have such a disciple. The 2 disciples he accepted before were gifted and outstanding, but compared with Yanqing, they were still a little behind. Condensed star core? So fast. Duan Mazuan said in a lost voice. The star core is the true sign of entering the transcendent realm. The star core controls the energy and mental power, and coordinates and unifies the power of the body. The first level of the transcendent realm only has the physique of the transcendent realm, and after reaching the second level, it will have the spirit and power of the transcendent realm. If Yi Chan was in the second level of the transcendent realm at that time, unless he used the ice crystal, Feng Ling and Yanqing would have died together. It takes a long time to reach the second level. In the past, the 10 students recruited by Xianfu often needed half a year to reach this level after receiving the inheritance, and Yanqing was able to achieve this with just 1 Phoenix Nirvana. This speed of cultivation is even faster than that of the Avildos. Yanqing was reborn from the ashes. The area where he was stained red with blood. Every bone and every drop of his blood was replaced, releasing powerful power. The energy was gushing like the sea, boiling in his body, increasing continuously until it reached the barrier of the realm, and could no longer increase. The barrier of the realm was very thick. The roaring energy bombarded it, but it could not make it tremble at all. It was very solid, but at this time, at the end of the rebirth from the ashes, Yanqing's hair stood up, automatically without wind, and behind him, a colorful phoenix flew. The strongest sublimation was coming. Break. Yanqing opened his eyes and shot out 2 divine lights. A flaming phoenix crashed into the sky, as if to pierce the sky. Yanqing longed for a breakthrough in the realm, not only because he wanted to win the game on Earth, but also because he wanted to survive and become a partner in the lives of others, not just a scenery on the side of the road. The faces of Feng Ling, Yang Ze, Yang Su, Master Yi Yang, the 3 saints, Dan Fangwu, Luozi, etc. appeared in Yanqing's mind. Since he left Tao and Star, he has met all kinds of people and things, with happiness and sadness. He lives a wonderful life. Although he can give up his life for his family, he still cherishes his life. Life is only once, and 3 years of life is too short. Many things cannot be done, and it is difficult to leave a deep mark in the hearts of many people. If he dies after 3 years, then his face will become more and more blurred in the hearts of those people, until it can't be seen. Yanqing absolutely does not want to see such a result. Therefore, during this period of time, he must make great strides, not waste any time, and do his best to practice. Breakthrough. 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 Only by constantly breaking through and becoming a saint can the lost life be made up, and only after a long time can I still drink with friends, see Feng Ling's smile, and get Uncle Yang's affirmation. Only in this way will I not regret it, and my life will not leave regrets. I won't give up. Yanqing roared, venting the frustration, depression, dissatisfaction, and violent mood that was suppressed in his heart. The flames of the phoenix became even hotter, and Yanqing's body seemed to have turned into a glass color, colorful. Boom. The sound of the waves rang out in Yanqing's body, and a vast amount of energy was unstoppable, rushing down. The originally solid realm barrier was like paper, and it was broken in an instant. The second level, he has reached it. Mu Daoxing said happily. Yanqing fell into a kind of ethereal state, and the energy surged, rushing into the bright sea of stars in the small universe, and became one with the small universe. Yanqing looked at the changes in his body, and a strange look appeared on his face. Yi Yang once told him that, after reaching the second level, he would condense a star core, and unify his mental power and energy. Yi Yang also taught him how to condense a star core, but the situation in his body now is not the same as what Yi Yang said. It is not the star core that controls the mental power and energy, but the microcosm, which means that the microcosm replaces the star core and becomes the core of energy. Yanqing felt a sense of emotion. He still took a different path from Feng Ling and Yang Ze. Whether this is good or bad, Yanqing could not tell, but he was sure of one thing, that the microcosm was definitely not worse than the star core, and even better. The brilliant sea of stars was turning slowly, and the 88 constellations were constantly rising and falling in the energy, becoming more shining, especially Pegasus, Avius, and Phoenix. The brightness of these 3 constellations was almost comparable to the silver constellations on the second layer of the star sea. Yanqing's breath was restrained, and the flames on the surface of his body were taken back. The new body appeared. Although there were no large muscles, the muscles were streamlined and contained explosive power. He swept his eyes, and a mental power flashed, throwing a stone hundreds of meters out of thin air, and smashing it into pieces. The four saints nodded secretly. After reaching the second level of the transcendent realm, Yanqing had become the strongest genius among the newborns. Even in the past, he was also the strongest. Yanqing took a step forward, and the rock under his feet immediately collapsed. He couldn't help but frown. He improved too quickly, and his control over UN energy decreased a lot. It seemed that he would have to spend some time to make up for this. There are only 3 months. Time is running out. Yanqing whispered, standing silently on the mountain, his black hair flying. He looked towards Xianfu, his eyes showing determination. He would stay here and continue to practice until the 3 months were over. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69. 1 month. Time flies, and a month has passed in a blink of an eye. During this month, Yanqing has undergone far more brutal training than before. He breaks his limits every day, and learns new things every day. Yi Yang taught him the secrets of the Sun Sutra and the attack methods of the Transcendent Realm. Mu Daoxing taught him the methods of holding the Mountain Embrace Seal and the 9-character mantra. Duan Mazuan personally practiced the method of increasing the coldness. Even the indifferent Guqin couldn't help but teach him the internal energy recovery technique. Yanqing leaped in the mountains. His feet lightly touched the lake surface, leaving ripples on the water. A fish swam by, and Yanqing took action, grabbed it and put it down, completing the whole process in an instant, without any splashes in the middle, and the fish was unaware, swimming leisurely away from Yanqing. This is a way to increase the control of UN energy. Yanqing smiled and nodded. In this month, he finally greatly enhanced the control of the UN energy in his body. Although it was not to the level of subtlety, it was also refined. He could enter the water without sound or waves, and control objects without being noticed. Today's training on control is over. Now I must go to Master Daoxing to practice the Mountain Embrace Seal. With Master Daoxing's temper, I guess he is impatient now. Yanqing turned his body and kicked his feet. The entire lake surface immediately exploded and surged. With the force of the lake on him, Yanqing flew high in the sky in an instant. With a sweep of his mental power, he locked onto Mu Daoxing's residence and dived down. Swish! Yanqing fell rapidly, while forming a seal. He embraced his hands, as if embracing a mountain. A mountain slowly condensed between his hands, exuding a majestic and heavy atmosphere. Boom! Yanqing raised his hand, and threw the mountain out, crashing into Mu Daoxing's residence. The mountain drew a parabolic trajectory, and approached the bamboo house. Haha, Uncle Daoxing, I'm here. Yanqing shouted. You little brat, you are becoming more and more like me. Mu Daoxing appeared, and with a wave of his hand, he threw out a mountain, which collided with the mountain thrown by Yanqing, making a rumbling sound, causing the area within dozens of miles to vibrate, as if there was an earthquake. Yes, you have already mastered the mountain holding seal. It really surprised me that you mastered my unique skill so quickly. It turns out that you are still suitable to be my apprentice. Mu Daoxing winked and smiled at Yanqing. Well, uncle, I'm also equivalent to your apprentice. We are in fact master and apprentice. As for the name of master and apprentice, you are naturally not rare with your noble character. Yanqing said with a grin. In this month, he has become familiar with Mu Daoxing, Duan Muzuan, and Guchen, and his titles for them have also changed from saints to uncle, wife, and uncle. That's right, that's right. Yi Yang is a wretched guy who forced you to be his disciple. If he wasn't so wretched, you would have been my disciple by now. Mu Daoxing said seriously. Yanqing was a little speechless. Uncle Master, the wretched guy you are talking about, isn't it you? Mu Daoxing, you are slandering Yi Yang again. No matter how you use sweet words to whitewash yourself, Yanqing will not recognize you as the master. Duan Mazuan said with a cold face. Master's wife, Yanqing said embarrassedly. Don't call me master's wife, call me master's uncle, understand? Duan Muzuen scolded. This title is too corny, as if she is Yi Yang's property, but she is an independent and strong woman. Yes, master's uncle, Yanqing said obediently. When he followed Duan Muzuen to practice cold energy, he suffered a lot. Ah, old woman, why do you come to me for no reason? Are you here to beg me? Mu Daoxing frowned. Don't dream, I came here, because Gu Qin called me here. Yi Yang finished his work, and came here right away. Duan Muzuen said. Is it a trial? It's a little too early. Mu Daoxing's face changed and said. There is no other way. If you want to reach the immortal level within 3 months, the trial is the best way. Duan Muzuen looked at Yanqing with a trace of reluctance, but it was replaced by indifference in an instant. Yanqing was confused. He didn't understand what the two were talking about. Swish. A rainbow light fell in the distance. It was Yi Yang. He took a step forward, shrunk the ground into an inch, came in front of the 3 people, and smiled. Sorry, I prepared the things for Yanqing's trial, so I came a step late. Master, what is it? Trial. Should I go to the trial? Yanqing couldn't help asking. Kinga, be patient, wait for Gu Chen to come, and we will explain it to you in detail. Yi Yang said softly. There was still sweat on his forehead. Obviously he had just done something very hard. In less than 10 seconds, Gu Chen hurried over on a cloud. His sleeves were torn, his hair was messy, and his face was tired. Finished? Yi Yang asked. Well, I just finished it. I just used the sky peeking technique. It's a bit strenuous to use it again so soon, but I still found a very good trial path. However, before starting, I must first check Yanqing's strength progress to ensure that his strength can reach the bottom line of this path. Gu Chen said. Kinga, show your strongest fighting power. Don't hide it. Show the results of this month's practice. This is very important. Yi Yang said seriously. Yes, master. Although Yanqing didn't understand, he still did it. Master Yi Yang wouldn't lie to him anyway. This was for his own good. Boom. Yanqing waved his fists, and the first one he showed was the Sun Sutra. The sun rose behind him, and there was a phoenix singing in the sun. With a wave of his colorful feathers, 5 divine lights fell, sweeping away everything. 9 Yang Fist. Fiery Sun Fist. 3 suns rose up with the fist. Yanqing threw a punch, and the 3 suns fell down at the same time, burning the land into scorched earth, and large cracks appeared on the ground. Yanqing's body was covered with golden flames of the sun, and no one could get close to him. Beam Fist. Yanqing's body was tense, his spine was bent, and he punched hard. Countless golden rays intertwined and covered the area around Yanqing. All the trees in this area were cut into pieces and blown away by the wind. This was the boxing method that Yanqing had learned when he was in the mortal stage. In the past month, Yanqing practiced this boxing method repeatedly and mastered it, and gave it a name, Beam Fist. As Yanqing's moves became more and more fierce, and the power contained in it became stronger and stronger, except for Gu Chen, the tension on the faces of the other 3 saints slowly receded, and their eyes showed admiration. If it's just like this, I'm afraid I won't even have the power to protect myself on the road of trial, Gu Chen said with a worried look on his face. Don't worry, Yanqing's practice is still early. Let's see after we finish. Yi Yang smiled. He was full of confidence in Yanqing. Thanks to Mozui, I can't hit that star. Crying, and Liu Xiang for the reward. Chapter 70, The Secret of Martial Arts. Mountain Holding Seal. Yanqing raised his hand and threw out a mountain. The mountain was majestic and tall, hitting the sky as if to punch a big hole in the sky. Mountain Holding Seal is a move that can defeat 10 skills with one force. It is simple and terrifying. When practiced to the extreme, huge and heavy mountains fall down one after another, and no matter what they are, they will be crushed to pieces. Pegasus Meteor Fist. Before the mountain falls, Yanqing changes his movements, and his fists draw the trajectory of the 13 stars of Pegasus. With one punch, Pegasus spreads its wings, and countless meteor-like fists rise to the sky, blasting the mountain into dust. Pegasus Meteor Fist is the first move that Yanqing comprehended. Now that his microcosm has reached the middle stage of the 6th sense, He can already throw nearly 1,000 punches in 1 second, and the power of each punch is doubled. Diamond Stardust Fist. Aurora Lightning Strikes. Yanqing did not stop and use the secret of the white bird. Like a dancing white bird, the cold air spread quickly, and a layer of ice crystals formed on the ground. The temperature dropped by more than 100 degrees. The cold air tornado whistled, and the air condensed piece by piece. Under the effect of Duan Mizuan's cold sky skill, Yanqing's understanding of the cold air has reached a new level. Now the temperature has reached more than 100 degrees below zero, and even invisible gases will be frozen. Mu Daoxing and Duan Mizuan both nodded. Yanqing has mastered their secrets thoroughly. Although it has not yet risen to the level of law, the power of these moves is definitely not inferior to those strong men who have reached the perfection of the transcendent realm. Ha ha ha. Frequently using these moves that consume a lot of energy, Yanqing is a little tired. He draws circles with his hands one after another, like Teikai. This is the internal energy recovery technique given to him by Gu Chen. Although it can only be used once a day, it can restore half of the body's energy in a few breaths. It can be said to be a wonderful way to save life. Very good. At least it can defeat people in the transcendent realm, but it's still not enough to threaten the immortals. The trial road I found, although it can help Yanqing break through the realm quickly, may still be a little difficult. I'll try another one. Gu Chen shook his head slightly and prepared to leave. There was no time to waste now. Don't worry, watch Kinga's final martial arts performance. It will definitely shock you. Yi Yang smiled, and his words were very optimistic about Yanqing. Could he have some magical skills that are enough to threaten the immortals? Gu Chen's heart moved. A magical skill is a unique skill that can cross a large realm and threaten the enemy. If there is such a magical skill, Yanqing will definitely have no problem protecting himself if he takes that path. Yi Yang nodded and sighed. 10 days ago, when I asked Kinga to try his skills, he used a magical skill called Phoenix Magic Fist. Even though I was on the defensive, I was also hit. I was terrified. I almost had a mental breakdown. Gu Chen's eyes were slightly stern. What kind of move was that? Even Yi Yang was hit. It seems that he has to wait a little longer. After seeing that move, he can make plans. Boom. Flames ignited on Yanqing's body, and a phoenix broke through the void and sang. After integrating the power of the sun's Dharma image in the constellation, the phoenix merged into one, and nirvana occurred, becoming extremely powerful. The phoenix behind Yanqing is both a Dharma image and a constellation phantom. It is very strange. This can be said to be his greatest reliance and Yanqing's strongest power. Phoenix wings fly in the sky. Yanqing overlapped with the phoenix, and his wings vibrated, raising violent gale and flames. The ice crystals on the ground shattered instantly, and the space collapsed. This was the first time that Yanqing used the Phoenix constellation's moves with all his strength. In the past month, he did not dare to use his full strength. After all, the Phoenix constellation's destructive power was too great, enough to destroy the land within a radius of dozens of miles. Hiss. The flames rolled, emitting the heat of magma, and the gale swept the flames and rushed out. The phoenix opened its mouth and spit out another sun-gold flame, which added to the flames, making the fire even more fierce, as if it was going to burn everything in the world. The phoenix spread its wings, and with one blow, the distorted space was shattered into nothingness. The ground sank hundreds of meters, and everything on the ground turned to ashes. This is indeed a divine skill. The gale and fire are combined through the power of the law. The wind helps the fire, and the fire helps the wind. The wind and fire attack together can fight against immortals. Gu Chen finally recognized Yanqing's combat power. With this alone, Yanqing can protect himself on the road of trial. If, as Yi Yang said, there is another terrifying mental attack move, then that path of trial might be the most suitable path for Yanqing. Gu Chen pondered for a while. He took a step forward and said, I want to try the last move. I won't feel at ease if I don't experience it myself. You want to try it yourself? That boxing method is no joke. It's very scary. Yi Yang dissuaded. That's why I want to try it. If it can confuse me, then I can feel at ease. Gu Chen's eyes flashed, very persistent. Okay. Yi Yang sighed, turned his head, and said to Yanqing, Kinga, use the Phoenix Magic Fist on your uncle. He wants to test the power of the Magic Fist. Yanqing fell from the air, gasping for breath. This phoenix wing sky flying really consumes too much energy, but the last move does not require a lot of energy. It can be done with mental power. Master, uncle wants to experience it personally? Yanqing asked in confusion. That's right, you can't hide your strength, you must use all your strength. Gu Chen waved his sleeves, extinguished the flames burning on the ground, and said to Yanqing, I know, uncle, you have to be careful. Yanqing took a deep breath, concentrated his mental power, stretched out his fingers, and light came out of his fingers. Phoenix magic fist. Swish. A ray of light instantly sank into Gu Chen's eyebrows, making Gu Chen's face pale, and fall into an illusion. Where am I? Gu Chen looked at the unfamiliar jungle around him and murmured. He suddenly felt that something seemed wrong with his body, as if he had a fresh vitality. He looked down at his body. What? Gu Chen was shocked. His body returned to his youth. What happened to me? His head hurt so much that he couldn't think of anything. Gu Chen frowned and thought for a while. He felt a little empty in his heart, as if something had disappeared. My body should have always been young and never aged, Gu Chen said to himself. He was sure of this idea. Why did he think that his body would age just now? He was really crazy. Senior brother Gu, what are you doing? Don't be lazy. Come back and set up camp. A beautiful woman waved at Gu Chen from a distance, with an angry expression on her face, which was very cute. Is this junior sister Yanqing? Gu Chen was stunned, and a feeling of nostalgia rose in his heart. Gu Chen felt something was wrong. He and junior sister just met. Why would he miss her so much? Senior brother Gu, hurry up. Yanqing put her hands on her mouth and shouted. Got it, I'll be there right away. Gu Chen replied hurriedly, and walked towards the camp. He shook his head vigorously, to put aside the feeling in his heart. He seemed very strange today. Maybe he was too tired. It seems that, after setting up the camp, he should have a good sleep to relieve his spirit. Chapter 71. Phoenix Phantom Fist. This is a dense jungle, and poisonous insects and snakes crawled by from time to time. Gu Chen carefully avoided them, and came to the camp. Gu Chen saw a handsome man repairing a damaged tent with a very focused expression. The tent in his hand soon became complete under his repair. The forest is full of dangers. Everyone has limited energy, and cannot use it all the time. It must be preserved as much as possible to prevent sudden dangerous accidents. These beaks and tents can resist small creatures such as mosquitoes and insects, which are very useful here. Gu Chen's head hurt. He remembered that he came to the primitive planet with senior brother Chenyan and junior sister Yanqing to participate in a cruel trial. They have been here for more than a month, and it will end in about 10 days. He also remembered that he had just gone to explore the surrounding situation to see if this area is suitable for camping. However, he did not finish the exploration. He just used the sky peeping technique to explore it. After confirming that there was no danger, he came back. Chenyan saw Gu Chen coming over and said gently, Junior brother Gu, how is the situation around? Gu Chen was stunned, touched his head, and said with a smile, Big brother, I have already explored it. You use the sky peeking technique again, but the sky peeking technique is not omnipotent. You are still so unreliable. I will go and take a look. You set up camp first. Chenyan smiled, put down the repaired tent in his hand, and walked outside. Hey, senior brother Gu, what are you doing? You are so lazy, and asked the senior brother to go again. The senior brother is very tired. Okay, Yanqing said angrily. Chenyan has been protecting him and Yanqing in the trial. Although his combat power is not the strongest among them, he is very wise and has a lot of experience in surviving in the wild. He is their support. If it weren't for the senior brother, they would not be able to stay in the jungle for a month. Although there is no need to worry about the senior brother, Gu Chen suddenly felt a little scared this time. It seems that the senior brother will never come back. Gu Chen couldn't help but step forward, stopped Chenyan, and said anxiously, Senior brother, why don't we not go? It's very late now. Why don't we set up camp here? Junior brother Gu, don't be so careless. I have to think about everyone's safety. Chenyan said seriously. Gu Chen knew that Chenyan was right. If he didn't explore the surrounding environment, once a danger occurred, it would be very fatal. Gu Chen couldn't help but give up stopping him and silently stepped aside. But there seemed to be a voice in his heart, as if asking him to continue to stop Chen Yan and not give up. But under the circumstances at this time, Gu Chen really couldn't stop Chen Yan, so he had to raise his head and said deeply, "Senior brother, you must be careful." Chen Yan was stunned, then smiled and nodded, patted Gu Chen on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, your senior brother has always been cautious, and he keeps his mind as if he is facing the abyss and walking on thin ice." Looking at Chen Yan, who disappeared in the depths of the jungle, Gu Chen gradually had a bad premonition in his heart. While setting up camp, he frowned and wondered why he was so strange today. He practiced the art of peeping into the sky, and although he had not yet come into contact with the long river of destiny, he also had a sense of foreknowledge of the future. Maybe he was strange today. Was something going to happen? Gu Chen's heart tightened. Yanqing jumped up and down and sprinkled a lot of wild beasts' body fluids in the camp, which could cover up their breath and also let the passing beasts smell the scent and leave. "Senior brother Gu, after you came back, you were a little different from your usual self." Yanqing hummed a little tune and said to Gu Chen, "Really? I think so too." Gu Chen felt his heart beat faster and faster. He looked up at the place where Chen Yan disappeared. The dark jungle was like a big mouth that would choose people and bite and kill everyone who entered. "Senior brother, it's okay," Gu Chen murmured. "Hey, senior brother Gu, what are you thinking about? Senior brother is so experienced, he will be fine. Don't worry, senior brother will be back soon." Yanqing's eyes flashed with admiration. "Yes, is that so? Maybe I'm too worried." Gu Chen's face was very ugly. He was now troubled by panic from nowhere and felt terrified. A picture suddenly flashed through his mind. This was the sky peeking technique at work. It was a monster with hundreds of arms walking through the jungle. Half of Chen Yan's body was hanging on each of his hands. The monster kept tearing off pieces of meat and putting them into its mouth. Yanqing's body was also pierced by an ugly arm. Blood splattered, and there was a look of despair on her face. "Ah!" Gu Chen screamed. He suddenly raised his head and said to Yanqing in panic, "Senior brother is in danger. I must go to save him." "Senior brother Gu, what are you talking about? How could senior brother be in trouble?" Yanqing asked curiously. "There is no time. We must go to save senior brother. I have the sky peak technique, and I can see the future. Senior brother is in danger. Junior sisterlinger, you stay here and don't leave," Gu Chen said, and ran towards the direction of the eldest senior brother. The sky peak technique can only foresee a branch of the future. At this time, there is no sound of fighting nearby. I guess senior brother should not have encountered the monster yet. I must change the future and save senior brother, Gu Chen murmured. Gu Chen ran. He turned around and didn't see any trace of senior brother at all. The bad feeling in his heart became more and more serious. Could it be that senior brother has? The picture appeared in his mind again, but this time it was clearer, reflecting the place where the monster passed. The monster came from a certain direction, and the place it passed was very familiar. Gu Chen thought about it for a while. His face changed, and his heart suddenly felt like falling into an ice cellar. The terrain of the place it passed was where they camped. He was led in the wrong direction by his sky peak technique. "Don't come over." At this moment, Gu Chen heard a scream. It was Yanqing's voice, shrill and full of fear. Gu Chen showed regret on his face. If he had known earlier, he should have taken Yanqing away with him. Gu Chen burned his life. His body was glowing with a faint light. His speed increased to the extreme, and he flew towards the camp. Faster, faster. Gu Chen kept urging himself, but even if he burned his life, his speed could no longer be increased. In the camp, countless arms of monsters were rampant, and swords were shining everywhere. Gu Chen knew that he had to be quick, otherwise he would be too late. Boom. Gu Chen fell and smashed a big hole in the ground. He finally arrived, but at this time, what he saw was the same picture as in his mind. The eldest brother was dead and torn in half. A slippery arm appeared on the chest of junior sisterlinger. She moved her lips slightly and made a few mouth shapes, as if saying "save me." "No, no." Gu Chen's eyes were bloodshot, and blood was dripping from the corners of his eyes. This was all his fault, otherwise this ending would never have happened. If he hadn't thought that the sky peeking technique was safe and correct and hadn't completed the exploration, he wouldn't have asked the eldest brother to explore again, wouldn't have provoked this monster, and the eldest brother wouldn't have died. If he hadn't been misled by the sky peeking technique, he wouldn't have left the camp, causing junior sisterlinger to die. What on earth did I do? It's all my fault, my fault. Gu Chen roared and wailed sadly. He spread his hands, and countless sword ki shot out, tearing the monster's hundreds of arms apart. After burning his life, his attack reached the level of a quasi-saint, forcing the monster back. The sky peeking technique flashed, revealing the monster's weakness in Gu Chen's eyes. Gu Chen opened his mouth and spit out the innate ki sword, and the murderer Sora pierced the sky and shook the earth, instantly shattering the monster's soul star core, turning it directly into dust. Kill the monster, but what can be done? The person is already dead, how can he be resurrected? What's the point? He will never see the smiles of the senior brother and the junior sisterlinger again. He will never see anything. Gu Chen's body went limp, and he fell to the ground. He had consumed too much life and his appearance suddenly became that of an old man. Gu Chen did not faint, but kept crawling, trying to crawl towards the junior sisterlinger who was closest to him. He got closer and closer little by little, and with tears in his eyes, he hugged the little junior sister into his arms. He crawled to another place, and picked up one of Chen Yan's hands. Chen Yan's body had already turned into broken limbs and was incomplete. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have regarded the sky gazing technique as something perfect that can predict everything. I, Gu Chen, was blind and arrogant, which led to this result. I hate it so much. Gu Chen howled sadly. He stretched out a hand to close junior sisterlinger's wide eyes, but no matter how he brushed, Yanqing's eyes still couldn't close, staring at him miserably, and suddenly Yanqing's mouth kept opening and closing, and she spoke, "Senior brother Gu, it was your sky peeking technique that killed me, and senior brother too. We are so miserable, it's all because of you. If it weren't for you, none of us would have died. Yes, it's all my fault." Gu Chen was stunned, as if his mind was bewildered, and tears kept streaming down his face. We are all dead, and only senior brother Gu is still alive. This is not fair, you should come down and accompany us. Yanqing laughed sinisterly, and the big hand of Chen Yan next to him stretched out and tightly grasped Gu Chen's neck, making him unable to breathe. But even so, Gu Chen still had an expression of great regret and shame on his face, and did not resist at all. It's my fault, I'll accompany you, and I'll die too, and this will atone for my sins. Gu Chen murmured, his consciousness blurred, and he fell into an endless abyss of darkness. Wake up, uncle. Gu Chen seemed to hear a familiar voice calling him. Gu Chen, wake up. A ball of sunlight illuminated his mind, allowing his consciousness to recover quickly. Gu Chen opened his eyes and glanced around. He saw Duan Muzuan, Mu Daoxing, Yi Yang and Yanqing, each of whom had a concerned expression on his face. What's wrong with me? Gu Chen's mind moved, and he immediately remembered the cause and effect. He was hit by Yanqing's Phoenix Phantom Fist and had hallucinations. It reminded him of the experience he was most reluctant to recall. He had always felt guilty towards his senior brother and junior sisterlinger. Under the effect of the Phoenix Phantom Fist, that experience became a demon in his heart. What a terrible move. Gu Chen said with emotion, sighing inwardly. He was feeling very complicated now. He thought he had forgotten that thing, but he didn't expect that he just hid it and buried it deep in his heart. Doing this can actually sharpen your heart of Taoism. I almost collapsed before, but after I figured it out, my spiritual cultivation immediately made a big step forward. Although I have to go through the pain of the past, this is also a good thing. Yi Yang sighed. You are right. If Yanqing hadn't brought out this inner demon, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to get through it. When I was going through the human emperor calamity, I would have fallen directly. This time I was able to see my true nature, and it was a blessing in disguise. Gu Chen said slowly, his eyes full of the vicissitudes of time and nostalgia for the past. Gu Chen walked up to Yanqing and said, you have passed. With such a mystery, my road of trial can definitely maximize your strength and allow you to at least reach the realm of immortality. Thank you, uncle. Yanqing said in surprise, although he didn't know what the trial road was, but being able to improve his strength to the fairyland, this was what he needed most urgently. Then everyone, open the trial road here, Gu Chen shouted, and he spread out his sleeves. A rotating Tekai diagram appeared, and a bright golden bridge was built. More than 3,000 words. Are book lovers satisfied? The real excitement is about to begin, and the foreshadowing is almost over here. Chapter 72, Time of Farewell, Part 1. A golden bridge was shining brightly, exuding a long and mysterious atmosphere. One end fell in front of Gu Chen, while the other end disappeared into the endless space, and no one knew where it led to. Locate. Gu Chen shouted, his hair and beard fluttering, and a Taoist sword appeared in his hand. He shot the Taoist sword to the other end of the golden bridge like a bow and arrow, and turned into a ray of light, and entered the endless void. One key into 3 pure ones. Gu Chen shook his body, and transformed into 2 Taoists who looked like him. The 3 of them formed seals, and rays of divine light burst out from Gu Chen and the 2 Taoists. The colorful light fell into the other end of the golden bridge, as if transporting something. What is this doing? Yanqing asked in confusion. This is to open a portal at the other end of the starry sky. The golden bridge used by your uncle Gu Chen is the innate Tekai diagram of the imperial weapon left by the previous generation of Xianfu Palace Lord. It can fix the void and instantly cross a distance of hundreds of thousands of light years. Yi Yang explained. Hiss. Yanqing sucked in a breath of cold air. This golden bridge could actually allow people to reach hundreds of thousands of light years away in an instant. It was an incredible magic weapon, worthy of being the imperial weapon of the 3rd generation of palace masters. The road of trial, open. Gu Chen struggled to pull his hands, slowly pulling open the void, revealing an extremely deep dimensional space. The other end of the golden bridge appeared in the space, and a door opened at the other end of the distant starry sky. The 2 Taoists beside Gu Chen disappeared after a wave of fluctuations. He was too exhausted and unable to perform the art of transforming 3 pure things into 1 key. However, Gu Chen's actions were not over yet. He put one hand on the golden bridge and sent a large amount of yuan gang. Although the golden bridge has been connected to the other end of the starry sky, it is still unstable at this time. Once someone passes by it, it will be torn apart by the multidimensional space. Only by sending enough power to the golden bridge can it be stabilized. Yi Yang explained the road of trial to Yanqing. Duan Muzuan, Mu Daoxing come to help me, Gu Chen said with a pale face. Duan Muzuan and Mu Daoxing nodded, walked forward, and also put their hands on the golden bridge. The vast yuan gang rushed out, radiating light, charging the golden bridge. Then Kinga, let me tell you what the trial road is. Yi Yang turned around and said to Yanqing, the trial road is the best real starry sky road prepared by Xianfu for students in the immortal realm to improve their strength. Through the calculation of the sky peaking technique, you can find the starfield that best suits your strength level. There will not be enemies who are much higher than you on that trial road. Of course, there will be many dangers, but as long as you can complete the trial road, your strength will definitely be greatly improved. After your senior brother completed the 2nd trial road, he reached the saint realm and became a saint. Yi Yang said slowly. Is this what the trial road means? Yanqing was shocked. That's right. Originally, Kinga, you didn't have the qualifications to enter the trial road, but the palace master required you to win the 1st place in the all-star talent arena competition. Under such special circumstances, we had to use the trial road. After all, only the trial road can improve your strength the fastest. But before entering the trial road, we must test whether your strength is in line with that road, so we performed martial arts. Fortunately, although you haven't reached the level of immortal transformation, you still have the power to threaten immortals. We dare to let you go if you can survive on the trial road. Master, so that's how it is. The trial road? It sounds good. If it can really help me reach the immortal transformation realm, I must go. Yanqing clenched his fist and said firmly. It's good that you have this awareness. Now it's still a while before the golden bridge stabilizes, about 4 or 5 hours. Use this time to deal with the affairs of Xianfu. You have been in this mountain for a month, and you will leave for a few months soon. It's time to go down and take a look. Yi Yang said earnestly. He knew what Yanqing was thinking. I understand, Master. Yanqing took a deep breath. He would not escape anymore. Even if he didn't have much life left, he would establish a deeper friendship with the people he cherished. Whoosh! Yanqing broke the sound barrier, leaving a trail of after images, and ran down the mountain. More than an hour later, Yanqing returned to Xianfu. Look, it's Yanqing. A student from Xianfu recognized Yanqing and said in shock. Didn't he vomit blood and get injured? Is his injury healed now? One person asked in confusion. The appearance of Yanqing has caused another great turmoil in Xianfu. Yanqing came to the dormitory, but Luozi was not there, which made Yanqing a little regretful. He also wanted to say goodbye to Luozi, but it seemed that he didn't have the chance now. He came to his bed and carried the bronze holy cloth box on his back. This is the Pegasus holy cloth, his most important thing, his fighting partner. Yanqing took out the communicator from the drawer of the table. During his morning exercise that day, he put down everything that might hinder his practice. He thought he would go back to the dormitory to get it after coming out of the practice room, but he did not expect to be provoked by Su Ming, and his body collapsed, causing the communicator to lie here for more than a month. Yanqing dialed Yang's number. After a ring, the call was connected. Without waiting for Yanqing to answer, the other party excitedly said, "Yanqing, are you okay?" A warm current flowed through Yanqing's heart, and he said easily, "Well, under the care of Master and others, I'm already well. Where are you? I will find you." Outside the number 11 training room. Soon, Yanqing arrived. At this time, Yang was waiting there. Yang saw Yanqing carrying the holy clothes box, and couldn't help frowning. What's the matter with Yanqing? Is he leaving? Yanqing, are you leaving? I feel from the communicator that you want to say goodbye. Haha, yes, Yangs, you are still as sharp as ever. I will go to participate in a long distance trial soon, and will not be back for several months. Yanqing smiled, looking cheerful. Really? Is it related to your injury? Yang said in a low voice. Well, kind of, but don't worry, I'm fine. I've survived the wild, so why should I be afraid of this little injury? Don't worry, practice well when I'm not around, and don't lose face as the number one of the young generation of the Yang family. Yanqing patted Yang Zhen on the shoulder and turned to leave. Yanqing, no matter what you do, you must come back alive. Yang Zhe said loudly from behind. Yanqing didn't look back. He stretched out a hand and made an okay gesture. Although he was reluctant to leave here, it was time to leave freely at this time. Yanqing took out the communicator and was about to dial Feng Ling's number when a familiar person suddenly appeared in front of him. Yanqing couldn't help but put down the communicator and smiled. Dong Fangwu, what do you want from me? The man in front of him was tall and burly, with a cold expression on his face, but his eyes flashed with fighting spirit. This familiar person was Dong Fangwu. A talisman flashed in his hand, and his body was full of momentum. I want to fight you. Chapter 73, Time of Farewell, Part 2. Sorry, I don't want to fight you at this time. Yanqing shook his head and was about to leave Dong Fangwu. You must fight. Dong Fangwu stretched out his finger and a black beam shot at Yanqing. This was the death ray technique, which had penetrated Yanqing's body and destroyed Yanqing's internal organs in the past. Dong Fangwu was very confident in this move. As long as Yanqing hid, he could use the next move of the heavenly domain technique to force Yanqing to fight him. But what happened next was completely beyond his expectations. Yanqing was surrounded by cold air and ice crystals were flying. Crack. Before the death ray approached Yanqing's body, its speed slowed down, and it was directly frozen into ice chips. What? Dong Fangwu was shocked that the death ray was so easily broken. He couldn't even see Yanqing's movements just now. Dong Fangwu, I have something urgent to do and don't want to waste time. Well, you are a man who will not give up. No matter what I say, you will not give up the fight. In this case, how about we decide the winner with one move? Yanqing looked at Dong Fangwu Dao. Okay, Dong Fangwu nodded. He felt the pressure from Yanqing's aura. What realm did Yanqing reach? Dong Fangwu was shocked. It seemed that he had to use the inheritance of the divine rune. Heavenly domain technique. Thousands of runes floated up and rotated in the air, forming a domain. Dong Fangwu's heavenly domain technique was to defeat the enemy by taking advantage of the environment. In the snowy mountains, the heavenly domain technique was to condense countless winds and snows and bombard the four directions. In this densely forested area, countless trees rose from the ground and shot out. Tearing technique. Dong Fangwu recited. He had obtained the inheritance of the divine rune in the back mountain. This inheritance was also left by a top saint, and was no worse than the flying knife inheritance. The tearing technique fell on the trees, and immediately turned these relatively fragile trees into thorny iron trees that were harder than alloys, with sharp thorns like awls. Once they fell on the human body, they would inevitably hook a big hole. With the blessing of the divine rune, the number of runes in the heavenly domain technique has increased tenfold compared to before, and the power has increased 100-fold. Even a person who has reached the perfect transcendent realm will be seriously injured by this move. But Yanqing's face was not solemn, but relaxed. He also had the moves of using force to overwhelm others, and defeating 10 skills with one force. Mountain Embrace Seal. Yanqing embraced his hands, and the energy of the second level of the transcendent realm gushed out. A mountain duck shape. He grabbed the towering mountain with one hand, and threw it at Dong Fangwu like a brave general. Boom. First countless ironwood thorns were crushed, and then thousands of runes were wiped out. Although some of the mountain was shattered, it did not hinder the huge mountain. The mountain banged and knocked Dong Fangwu away, causing him to spit blood and fly backwards for several miles. Impossible. Why is Yanqing so strong? This is a complete crush. Dong Fangwu's chest was sunken, and he opened his mouth and spit out some internal organs. Yanqing's attack directly injured him. Yanqing came over and pulled up Dong Fangwu, who was struggling to get up. He said, "Don't be shocked or depressed. It's actually very simple. I'm already at the second level of the transcendent realm. I've condensed a star core, so I'm naturally much stronger than you. No wonder it's like this, ahem. But I won't give up. I'll fight you again when I reach the second level of the transcendent realm." Dong Fangwu coughed and said seriously, "That won't work. If your goal is only the second level of the transcendent realm, you will definitely lose if you challenge me again. Set your goal on the transcendent realm. Otherwise, I'll definitely pull you far away." Yanqing walked away and threw a word to Dong Fangwu leisurely. "Heh, you look down on me. Then, as you said, set your goal on the transcendent realm. See you next time, and we'll fight again." I feel a sense of defeat in my heart. It's not a good feeling to be beaten by the enemy I defeated before, but it's really great to have an opponent who can catch up. Dong Fangwu was still determined to fight, and whispered to Yanqing's back. Yanqing walked quickly, while taking out his communicator, and dialing Fengling's number. The ringing sound in the communicator kept ringing. Yanqing felt anxious. The person he wanted to see the most at this moment was Fengling. Beep. The communicator was connected. Yanqing suppressed his excitement and asked tentatively, "Fengling?" There was no sound from the communicator. It was quiet. Yanqing couldn't help wondering, could it be that Fengling was not on the other end? The number on the communicator was correct. Yanqing was about to ask again when a gentle breeze suddenly passed by Yanqing's ears. At the same time, pieces of red petals fell. The fragrant fragrance made Yanqing feel familiar. This was. Yanqing raised his head. Under a maple tree, a smiling woman was looking at him. There were tears in the corners of her eyes. They were tears of laughter. Fengling whispered, "Welcome back." A clear stream flowed by Yanqing's side, making a gurgling sound. The water flow was very gentle. Petals fell one by one, swelling on it and flowing downstream. Yanqing was inexplicably silent. He remembered very clearly that it was Fengling who eagerly protected him when he fainted. The last picture he saw before he fainted was Fengling's little face with heartache and anxiety. Something seemed to be brewing in Yanqing's heart. How did he and Fengling know each other? It was probably when he broke into the second level of the Feng family's mansion. With his strong will, he used the Pegasus Meteor Fist and attracted Fengling's attention. After that, the quirky Fengling became a reliable ally of their Yang family. When surviving in the wild, she never abandoned him as a burden. She always took him forward. Although she sometimes said some shameless and imaginative words, she was indeed a very reliable partner. Yanqing thought of this, and a smile appeared on his lips. So, when did he have a heartbeat for her? Was it when he gave up his life for her and blocked Dongfang Wu, or when he heard her crying and calling for him after the battle with Yi Chang, or when he saw her sitting quietly, opening her heart, with her hair flying, after rescuing Yang Zhen? I can't remember. Yanqing shook his head. I don't know when. He had a heartbeat for Fengling. What moved him was not Fengling's appearance, but Fengling's heart, a heart that wanted to remain pure but was exhausted. Yanqing understood that Fengling liked him and had a heartbeat for him. But he had been running away and escaping in the past and never responded to Fengling's expectations. Although there was a reason that he was afraid that his limited life would delay her, it was more because he still didn't have enough sense of belonging to this era in his heart. But now Yanqing wants to say that he should have found the sense of belonging he wanted and found the sense of belonging in this era. It's time to respond to her expectations, even if his life will wither away like fireworks. Yanqing looked at Fengling, who was laughing and crying, and strode forward with a big stride, raising the aura of mecha charging. His big hand grabbed Fengling's jade hand and held it tightly, not letting go at all. Fengling's haggard face was stunned for a moment, and then she laughed again, laughing brightly, laughing happily, laughing more tears. She lowered her head. Her face was a little rosy, and she whispered, "What a fool." The maple flowers were bright red, fluttering down and falling on the two people, as if covering a thin layer of bright dresses. The sunlight shone down and fell on the faces of the two people, making Yanqing and Fengling look particularly bright. Sorry to the friends who are waiting for updates. 12 wants to present the best story, so it is much late. Finally, thank Liu Xiang for the reward. Welcome all book friends to read. The latest, fastest, and hottest serialized works are all here. Chapter 74, Leaving on the Golden Bridge. Fengling and Yanqing strolled along the Qingshu River, holding hands, with a faint feeling of affection fermenting in their hearts. The maple tree planted on the riverbank swayed in the wind, dropping maple flowers one by one. Yanqing stretched out his hand and caught one, and the sun's rays bloomed, injecting vitality into it. Are you going to the trial? Fengling looked at Yanqing, her eyes as gentle as water. Yeah, when will you be back? I don't know how long, but I will definitely be back. The look on Yanqing's face was extremely serious. Can I go with you? Fengling asked expectantly. Yanqing did not answer, but just inserted the maple flower that had been nourished by the sun's rays and became extremely bright into Fengling's hair. He looked up at Fengling, smiled brightly, and shook his head. I really don't want you to leave. Fengling murmured. Her face was both happy and lost, and tears fell. Yanqing raised one hand and wiped away the tears from Fengling's eyes and said quietly, today's separation is for a better time together in the future. Don't be disappointed, the days ahead are still very long. I know, but I'm worried about you leaving. I'm immortal. I've survived many times, and this time is no exception. Yanqing said firmly, with a gleam in his eyes. Then I'll wait for you to come back. But before you leave, Fengling suddenly hugged Yanqing and whispered in Yanqing's ear, I want you to never forget me. Fengling raised her head with a smile on her face and bit Yanqing's lips fiercely. Yanqing didn't hide. He understood the meaning in Fengling's eyes, lowered his head, and bumped into her thin and wet lips. After a long time of lingering, the two separated. Fengling licked the corner of her mouth and said, in this way, even if I meet a foxy girl on the road of trial, I will not forget me. A trickle of blood flowed from Yanqing's lips. He couldn't help but smile bitterly. He held Fengling's face, looked into her eyes, and said word by word, no, never. This is the best thing I have ever gotten in this era. Boom. A huge sound suddenly came from the back mountain, and a golden bridge appeared, spanning the sky. It was unknown how long it was. Yanqing looked back, and his heart sank. It was time to set off. Are you leaving? Yanqing was silent and nodded. I'm waiting for you to come back. Really, don't let me wait in vain, otherwise, I will forget you. Fengling smiled. This time she didn't cry, but was in high spirits and full of vigor. She is the second daughter of the Feng family, shouldering the heavy responsibility of the Feng family, and she can't have too much love. Yanqing grabbed Fengling's hand and put it on his chest. His heart was beating vigorously. Fengling looked at Yanqing's persistent eyes and smiled like 100 flowers in full bloom. I'm leaving. Yanqing turned around without looking back. He didn't look at Fengling's expression anymore. He was afraid that he would be reluctant to leave. Since he had chosen the distant place, he had to keep moving forward. He had to win the first place in the game on Earth. He only had 3 years to live, so he had to change. His future was not grey, but colorful. In this era, many people cared about him and made him feel warm, even though he didn't belong to this era. 3 years was a short time, and he didn't stay long enough. Yanqing stepped hard on the ground, and with a recoil force, he soared into the sky and went straight into the sky. He spread his hands like a phoenix spreading its wings, and fell to the place where the golden light was shining. On the ground, Fengling looked at the direction he left, standing there blankly, as if she had turned into a statue. She had a feeling that Yanqing might not be able to come back for a long time. Yanqing fell rapidly, and when he was dozens of meters above the ground, yuan energy gushed out from under his feet. He turned over and landed steadily. He saw that the 4 saints had stopped sending yuan gang at this time, and it was obvious that the golden bridge had stabilized. Kinga, come here. Yi Yang waved his hand. Yanqing walked over and looked at the winding, magnificent and imposing golden bridge. He was very shocked. The weapon of a human emperor really had unimaginable power. Yanqing, at the other end of the golden bridge is the Swan Star region. The Swan Star region is very far away from our Centaur Star region. It is impossible to send a short message to us in the Centaur Star region using a communicator. Even if you take a starship, it will take a month to reach this star region, so everything depends on you. Gu Chen said seriously. Stinky boy, there are dangers and opportunities on the road of trial. When you seize the opportunity, don't be overwhelmed by ecstasy. The greater the opportunity, the more dangers you face. Don't lose your life. Mu Daoxing snorted. Although the Swan Star region is weak, it has the Ice Palace Holy Land, which is a sect with saints. Remember not to provoke them. The Earth is very close to the Swan Star region, and can be reached in just 1 day, so you have a lot of time to practice, so don't waste it. If you can't get first place, don't come back. Duan Mazuan said coldly. Yanqing's heart was churning. These 3 saints have been helping him all the time. He can't express their kindness to him in thousands of words, and can only repay them in the future. He bowed deeply to everyone and said solemnly, I will be careful. Please rest assured, Master, Uncle, and Madam. Yi Yang came forward with a gentle expression. He took out a dark ring from his arms and handed it to Yanqing, saying, this is a space ring. On this ring, I have opened up a small space with the power of a saint. Although it is only 1 cubic meter, it is enough to hold many important things. I put the Taoist books you need and some daily necessities in it. There is still half of the space inside. You must use it well. Thank you, Master. Yanqing choked a little. He took the ring and put it on his hand. It was really a blessing for him to have such a master. Why are you crying? This is what a master should do. As long as you can survive, no matter how much a master does, I'm willing to do it. Yi Yang said lightly, but his words made Yanqing's eyes red. There is no time to lose, Kinga. Let's set off now. When you come back, the master will talk to you again. Yi Yang said with a smile. Okay, Master. Yanqing nodded heavily. He walked onto the golden bridge. A divine light enveloped him and protected his entire body so as not to be invaded by the multi-dimensional space. Goodbye, everyone. Yanqing's eyes swept across the 4 saints, across the back mountain, and across the entire Fu, remembering everything in his heart. Whoosh. After the last look, Yanqing turned into a stream of light and disappeared suddenly. Only the saints could barely see Yanqing moving quickly on the golden bridge and reaching the other end of the golden bridge. I hope he succeeds. Gu Chen sighed, and Duan Muzuan and Mu Daoxing nodded. Kinga, I'll wait for you. Yi Yang stood there and said silently, are you back? Luozi murmured when she returned to the dormitory. As soon as she entered the door, she saw that the bronze box that was usually placed on the cabinet had disappeared, and the drawer of the table was also pulled open. Thinking of the golden bridge in the back mountain, Luozi, who was familiar with Fu, immediately understood that her roommate was probably going to walk the trial road, and she should go back to the dormitory to get something. Luozi felt inexplicably empty inside. Logically, she should be happy that her rumor disappeared and she no longer had to worry about being discovered. But why couldn't she feel happy at all at this moment? Yanqing, where on earth have you been? Chapter 75 Swan Star Region. The back end of Gideon is down. No matter how I upload chapters, they show abnormality. I have tried several browsers but it still doesn't work. This is my fault. I'm sorry, everyone. There will be 3 more chapters today. Thanks to riding a pig and chasing a beauty and Liuxiang for the rewards. The Swan Star region, also known as the Northern Cross Star region, is a star region in the middle and lower reaches of the star region occupied by humans. Although there are only more than 10 habitable planets. But because each planet is extremely huge, there are several immortal level masters on each planet, and even saints. On a planet called Aurora in the Swan Star region, a bright golden bridge suddenly crossed the sky, and the breath of the human emperor diffused, shaking the entire star region, and attracting the attention of many powerful people. This is the magic weapon of the human emperor. How could it appear here? Our Swan Star region has never produced a human emperor. An old man muttered as he looked at the direction where the golden bridge crossed. The emperor's soldiers have come. I remember that 1,000 years ago, the great sage of the Ice Palace said that, if we see the emperor's soldiers passing through the sky, it is time for our Swan Star region to rise. Could it be that the prophecy has come true? The heroic man in armor stood on a high mountain, his eyes deep, thinking of the old things. The breath of the human emperor is not necessarily the emperor's soldiers. This golden bridge disappeared in an instant, but it seems to be teleporting something. Could it be that some evil genius came to our Swan Star region for trial? It would be great if we could meet him. On other planets, a middle-aged man in a white robe also felt this breath, and speculated that he was close to the truth. On the Aurora star, many warriors rushed to the direction of the golden bridge. Although they didn't know what the golden bridge was, they understood that it was definitely a very powerful magic weapon. It might be an adventure or an opportunity. Once they could get it, it might change their life. For the warriors in the Swan Star region, especially the warriors at the bottom, opportunity is the greatest temptation. In order to fight for opportunities, they will do anything. People die for money, and birds die for food. This sentence is the best interpretation of these warriors. A huge crowd of people followed the breath, and there were many strong men in the immortal realm. One by one, warriors roared through the sky with various colored auras, and their spiritual power swept across the sky, capturing the breath of the golden bridge. But to everyone's disappointment, the golden bridge disappeared directly after crossing it, leaving no trace. Some people looked for it in various places, contacted each other with communicators, and conducted a carpet search, but they couldn't find it. After searching for a long time, boom. A terrifying energy fluctuation suddenly erupted on the ground. This was a battle between immortals. The power of the law was mighty. Many low-level warriors around them immediately exploded into blood mist when they touched it, and their bodies disappeared. The field was in chaos, and many warriors retreated and gave up the search. If they got the opportunity, it would be worth risking their lives, but it was not worth it to die in the aftermath of the battle between the immortals before finding the opportunity. What a pity. Who can get this opportunity? It's probably the immortals. We are a group of warriors who can't even reach the transcendent realm and can't even enter the immortals field. How can we grab the opportunity? You are wrong. Everyone has a chance. Opportunities never belong to the strong. Fengson of Xiangsu Star was originally a lowly warrior of the 3rd level of innateness. Later, he accidentally got the inheritance of the saint and rose all the way to become an immortal. A group of warriors gathered together and discussed endlessly. They were full of desire for tomorrow, but the cruelty of reality always crushed their fantasies. The only thing they could talk about was the stories of the rise of those useless people. Because of these stories, they were full of energy and could hit their heads and bleed again and again, but they still didn't repent and were full of dreams and blood. Look, it seems that a young man flew over in the sky and there was a bronze box behind him. Is that an opportunity? A very young warrior, about 14 or 15 years old, stared with big eyes and pointed to the sky naively. The warriors looked up expectantly, but there was no figure in the sky, nothing at all. Bang! An old warrior in ragged clothes gave the young warrior a slap and said, "When I obey, you lied again." Last time you said you saw a stone statue come to life, but it turned out to be just a mouse grinding its teeth, shaking the stone statue. You lied to everyone so badly. Why are you lying again this time? Do you really think I dare not beat you up? It hurts. The young warrior covered his head and grinned. Grandpa, I didn't look carefully last time, but I really didn't lie this time. I saw someone fly over with my own eyes. Bang. Another one. When Xiaobei covered his head and squatted down, shouting, Grandpa, I really didn't lie. You dare to quibble? The old warrior was about to hit again, but was stopped by a middle-aged man. The middle-aged man shook his head and smiled. Xiaobei may be right. Maybe that person was too fast and disappeared in the blink of an eye. It's normal that we didn't see him with our eyesight. There are still many such cases. Okay, since Guleoda has spoken, I won't punish you. The old warrior snorted, and his palm fell down. He didn't want to beat his precious grandson more. Beating Wen Xiaobei was just to give an explanation to the warriors and reduce dissatisfaction. Haha, Xiaobei, don't be so reckless next time, otherwise your grandfather will punish you again. Guleoda laughed. Thank you Guleoda, Xiaobei knows. When Xiaobei said obediently, he has lived in this group since he was a child and knows the rules. He can't say a word against Guleoda, the leader of this group. HMPH, Xiaobei, now you go pick up firewood for me. You escaped a beating, why don't you hurry up and do some work? The old warrior scolded. When Xiaobei had a sad face. His shrewd grandfather always exploited his labor and made him a servant of this group. He picked up the bag and walked deep into the woods to pick up some dry branches. The old warrior sighed, and there were waves in his eyes. Xiaobei was very young and didn't know much. This group was very cruel. Only by contributing to this group could he survive in this group. Such a good thing of raising people for free would not be done by such a warrior group. Xiaobei was young and had not reached the innate realm. Even if he could not charge for the group, he had to do some errands and serve. Otherwise, it would cause dissatisfaction among many people and he would be abandoned by the group and left to fend for himself. The old warrior turned around and smiled. Just as he was about to say a few words to Guleo, a terrifying, powerless murderous intent suddenly enveloped him. No, this murderous intent, to be exact, enveloped everyone here, without sparing a single one. The old warrior turned around with difficulty, looking at the group of people stepping on the spiritual light in the air with horror. There were as many as 40 or 50 of them. These were warriors in the transcendent realm. Only warriors in the transcendent realm could fly. It was bad. Facing this group of people, their small group could not resist at all. They only had one person in the transcendent realm. The warriors with low strength felt their scalps tingling. There was a huge shadow covering their hearts, and they had a very bad premonition. Master Wen Gong wants to clear the place. Everyone here must be killed. The person who spoke was very casual, and he didn't care about killing a group of innocent people. Don't kill me. Please, please. Help. Someone save me. You bunch of devils. You will not die well. The massacre began, and wailing sounded everywhere. After just a few dozen seconds, there was no living person here. There were broken limbs and arms everywhere, scattered flesh and bones, and blood soaked the ground. Let's go to the next place. This kind of ant-like small group is really everywhere. It's an eyesore. The man took a group of people and flew to another direction. After a few minutes, when Xiaobei, who had gone to collect firewood, came back, he was smiling and holding a big bag full of firewood. He jumped out of the jungle, full of energy. Grandpa, I'm back. I picked up a lot of firewood. When Xiaobei stopped talking and stared blankly at the front, the bag in his hand suddenly slipped to the ground, and many dry firewood spilled out. Grandpa, 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 Grandpa. This is not true. This is not true. No, no, no. When Xiaobei walked forward and carefully identified it, his body trembled and tears flowed. Familiar faces appeared in his mind, but they did not match the corpses here at all. Second fatty uncle turned into a pile of fat that could no longer move. The usually amiable Guleoda was left with only a hideous head. His grandfather, an old warrior, was now only left with an old left hand. When Xiaobei knelt down with a plop, hammered the ground with both hands, and cried out to the sky, "This is not true." This is not real. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.